overall. That just shows the difference between NA and EU. This is his chance to not only win the whole tournament, but I think more importantly for him to go up against 72 Hours. Like that's a victory in its own, right? You know, forget the trophy, forget the prize money. He wants his chance to go up against his rival.
That's the rivalry we all want to see happen.
Oh yeah, and I can't wait for it because it's going to be epic. You know, whichever one of those wins is going to be celebrated in the chair.
And a couple of players I want to talk about as well that were kind of challenging that tilt. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to leave it to. I'm going to let the story tell itself, gentlemen. Do you know why? Because it's time to get into game number 1, baby. Katowice, I hope you're ready for this one. Round number 1 is underway. Gentlemen, take it away.
Oh, man. So, Facts Fox, we wanted to look at this man in particular, and I'm a little bit disappointed off the bat here. At least in solos, I'll say this, though, Speedy. We talked about him, and he's been so vocal about how often he wants to go tilted. But he's given it up off the bat. So adaptations, as we were just talking about on the desk, we're seeing players do that, at least here in solos so far today.
I 100% expected him to drop tilted, but it looks like he's opting to go into one of his most populated, more contested areas now, the pirate ship.
You're gonna have Funk Bomb there, as you can see, towards that north-hand side as well. He's gonna have at least a couple of chests off the guy. Actually, 3 of them. Looks like he's actually read into this position quite well because triple chests off the bat. That's going to get him loaded up relatively well. You can see he's got the redeploy in there. He's got the SMG, a grenade launcher as well. 2 minis.
The only thing he's missing in this loadout is a shotgun. He can't really contest someone close range, but maybe he could pop a couple of grenades at an opponent, get some shield tags.
Well, let's see. So, unfortunately for him, he's not going to be going tilted. We're not going to see the battle of him up against Aiden. We already do have our first eliminations rolling in. Jarl's going to be dropped off the bat here. Fnatic going to be down 1 player. But yeah, I'm a little bit sad to not see him, but at the same rate, I'm proud of him to adapt his style, right? To change things up.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see what he can do in this pirate ship area. Stompy over here in Frosty Flights.
Yeah, so it looks like he's been relatively uncontested so far. Still has that chest up above him if he does need it. We have Demo up against Eric off the bat as well. So a little bit of building going on now, and it looks like Demo, actually both players not going to have any sort of shields. Demo's the one applying this pressure.
Absolutely. The reason you land here in Diner is because you don't want to get contested, but didn't really work out according to plan.
All right, so while we do see this fight breaking down as Nate takes down Shinken, to update you as well around the map, we actually do have a relatively good spread across. We got a couple of players already being dropped as well. I'm trying to go over the list. If there's any notable names that you
Demo taking down Eric. A beautiful pump.
Yep, very, very beautiful. We see Saf as well. Flexi, the German player here out of Gambit, going to be hiding inside of a bush in the meantime. And just to remind you guys at home, this is a different format. Every elimination matters. Every elimination gets you 5 points on the board, and Demo already has his first.
The bush strat's a classic, too. Just kind of hide in there and hope your opponent doesn't see you. Try to sneak around. Smeef really low here.
That's actually Milan's duo, the 16-year-old prodigy that we're talking about before. He's got a legendary compact SMG. He's got the shotgun as well. He's got a decent kit, but what he doesn't have, Speedy, is the health to work with here, especially up against the Vic.
No, he needs to get out of here, and he needs to get out of here fast.
Well, it looks like he's going to be trying to do so. As you can see now, the Vic going to be taking down some of these walls, replacing it for himself, and you can already see there's a major battle happening here on top of things. Windwalker now going to be up against Power, so Jarl's teammate here out of Fnatic.
Looks like Power had recently taken out another opponent. Windwalker just kind of there waiting for third party.
Well, the big names that we expected to be looking at over the course of today, Speedy, are still alive and kicking.
Yeah, Power just kind of disengaging there with the drift board. It's a nice little mobility item to get you in and out of situations as fast as possible. You have Nate Hill kind of off to the side there. Kuna was...
Yeah, it's going to be up an interesting fight here. He actually does have the higher position up against him. He's just looking for that shot. He's got the shotgun. He's trying to go for the replacer, trying to take down multiple walls so he can get control of it.
Marana is so weak here, and Kuna knows it. He gets into his box. The trap goes down.
And actually, you got the great little replacer. He's not getting the elimination just yet. Another player's going to be coming. He will take down Marana. So that'll be his first elimination. We heard a trap go down in the last second there. And a couple of clingers as well, even sporting it.
The disrespect.
Or respect, I want to call it. No, but disrespect definitely there. You have Myth now, a player that we haven't even talked about over the course of today, representing TSM. He's got Cloud as his partner for tomorrow when we get into our duos. He's got Kripa to fight with here, to contend with. But so far, only 9 eliminations have gone through.
Absolutely. Myth's landing spot is typically Lonely Lodge. Didn't get affected by the Season 8 patch, so nice little rotation there that he's used to.
You see Tixi able to get above Zypan here. Now, if you're Zypan in this situation, Speedy, how do you kind of fight your way out of this?
This is a tough situation. You're just kind of sitting there, turtling, trying to disengage. It looked like he's going for the disengage, actually. Meanwhile, his opponent's just holding high ground.
He's given him the high ground, though, so he's given him the respect, which I think is really important to see.
None of these players really want to engage each other. You can see by the way they're moving around. They just kind of got into an awkward situation where they ran into each other. And they said, hey, let's just go our separate ways here.
Yeah, let's just back away. Let's just play for the later on stages of this one. Myth still looking for Kripa, and Kripa seems to be the one wanting to take the fight here.
Yeah, so even though Kripa has high ground, Myth is healthy here.
And he's making the push happen. Only 8 builds, 7 builds left here for Kripa as he's using all of his materials for this engagement. Down to 9 HP. He's got a first aid kit, but the Stink Bomb comes through. And it looks like the Stink Bomb will take him down. Myth gets the elimination, and more importantly, gets his first on the board.
I'd love to see it. Myth performing well in a tournament environment.
Kaiser up against Jesse. You wanted to see the X2 boys. We're going to have our first little inkling of a fight here. Looks like he's going to eventually just back away here. He's got a couple of clingers. I like to see these clingers. We haven't really had many of them go off in the early stages, but as we know, transitions to that mid game, attention to that late game is where things are really interesting. Now Bowman going to be under a couple of shots here up against Beehive.
3 players up here on the mountain. It's kind of an awkward situation. You can't really disengage. There's no more storm wings. You can't leave. There's a couple of zip lines that you can take, but overall Beehive just kind of holding on to that high ground.
There are 3 players, though. I wonder if Beehive knows there's a player like pretty much directly under him. The thing is, he's fine. He's in the circle for now.
Yeah, there's no rush. I mean, Beehive has a rift. He can get out of here. Skite has a rift. They can both get out of here whenever they want. They're in zone. They have plenty of time.
Funk Bomb and Demo, 2 players I didn't expect to be going head-to-head this early on now, Speedy. But it doesn't seem like we're going to have a fight break off just yet.
Yeah, so Funk Bomb and Nate Hill, both duos, currently in solos, but they kind of have a more passive endgame style. So I definitely don't expect them to see them pushing aggressively towards any situation that they can avoid.
Well, maybe not them, but FaxFox is here in the vicinity, and we know him to be very, very aggressive. He has a launch pad if he wants to use it. But again,
Imagine just went down in the kill feed there.
Yeah, Zypan does secure that elimination. But I like to see this. We have 4 players currently in this vicinity, and again, I kind of agree with you. I kind of want to, bring to life your sentiments again. I don't think we're going to see any sort of engagement just yet. Myth now potentially trying to come in as well. Just pick up the quad, going to be looking to come around. Jordan now, the other X2 player with Seth hot on his heels. He's got a decent kit to use too. He's got a slurp in there, a couple of small shields.
Yeah, he's looking good. Definitely playing for endgame. It's kind of what we expected to see, right? The first game, everyone just feeling each other out. Aggressive players like FaxFox, no eliminations yet, first circle in. Typical of what, a first game should kind of look like.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Stink Bomb coming in. He knows there's a player there now taking a little bit of damage. Shows it ahead of him, trying to catch him off guard. Seth is just being pressured as Jordan's looking to actually close it on this elimination potentially. He's got the shotgun for up close play. He's going for the replace. He gets it. He goes for the edit as well, but that's a great escape here by Seth. But for how long, actually? Seth actually escapes and manages to turn around to take down Jordan with a great little play. Uses the ramp to block the shot, right? Then gets above him and drops.
I absolutely expected Jordan to win that engagement. He had the shield or the health tags on him. He had the advantage. He had the high ground, and Seth ended up turning it around.
Now X8 gonna be tuning in with him here as his kit. Yeah, looking all right for now. So having a little bit of a strong start, which is very important for here. Dementos be on Team Secret now, going for an little engagement up against Saf, and Saf is the player I have to win this whole thing, to win this whole tournament solos. And no, Saf goes down. The commentator's curse comes through. My boy Saf, I'm sorry, I apologize, but Dementos, that was a fantastic shot.
I'm so upset. I really wanted to see Saf in the end game and show us what he could do.
We got a pirate cannon.
We have a cannon.
We got a pirate cannon. I want to see someone get an elimination with this. Hell, I want to see someone blast out of it like Team Rocket and get it across the other side of the map. And now Provoked is going to be on the high ground. He's got Vilix and BloodX under him.
It's kind of funny that we see these players setting up here. They know there's a cannon. Really good in case they don't get circled. Just kind of launch out of there. If you're in a cannon, you can get 100 or 260 meters in one direction.
And you can do a lot of damage with it too. You can do, I think it's 100 direct, it's like 50 splash. That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage that you can inflict on your opponent there. Billix, really weak.
Yeah, I think it might be time to use the Rift here to escape this one, just to go for the first aid. Got the Storm Surge coming through. He's actually below the threshold. Now he's going to be above it, luckily for him. But the pressure's going to be coming through and Provoked. Going to get that elimination, get his first now.
Provoke ends up getting that elimination nicely. Unfortunately, Billix did not use the Rift and did not rotate out.
Yeah.
Just kind of sticking around, hoping that he would get lost in the sauce, but it didn't end up working for us.
I kind of wanted to see him actually use it, right? Because he had the first aids. He had the opportunity to retreat from here, heal back up, keep himself alive to get into that top 50 where he can start accumulating these points.
Yeah, the problem with using a Rift, especially at this phase of the game, is if someone sees you Rift, they know you're weak. So everyone in the lobby is going to start taking those AR shots at you. They've been Kovaxing 5 hours a day, so they're definitely going to get some tags. He was weak, probably wouldn't have survived.
By the way, Envy, I did see on the activity feed yet again. I believe that's his second now so far. We haven't really talked about the Korean players just yet, but he's been doing some work so far, able to get 10 points on the board. You can see Chap able to take down Poach. A little bit of a team elimination there with Liquid Boys, but, that's what's going to happen when it comes to solos.
The team betrayal. Hate to see it.
All right, well, we can see, though, people are starting to group up. Myth going to be still alive, as you can see. We got 0-7 as well, a player here from China from World Elite, going to be participating, still alive so far, as we're starting to trickle down, losing player by player. Flexi has gone down, by the way, a little bit earlier on, just to kind of get you up to date on the players we have had drop.
And kind of an interesting note, there's a lot of players setting up on this side of the map, especially around this, this mountain.
Right.
A lot of these players trying to get center zone, trying to get as close to some mobility items as possible so that if they don't get circle, they can move on out to the next area. So a lot of these players setting up on that pirate ship, like I mentioned before, making sure that they can use that cannon if they don't get the circle.
Oh,
and they do get the circle, so no rush.
You saw Zayt there towards the northern side, able to close in. He's actually the little purple arrow there on the minimap. Hupek, actually a player from Poland as well. He played last week, didn't really have the results that he was looking for, and the thing is, him and Skix were actually two of the players a lot of people were pointing out in particular that just didn't seem to really rise to the occasion last week, but here's a different chance.
Aim Hero, one of the Korean players here, he ended up dropping tilted. I guess his teammate, that might have been the reason. They might have flipped a coin.
Maybe.
Said Aim Hero.
Ooh, a lot of it coming through. Those Zextro gets on the board. The Vic gets on the board as well. And players are starting to drop like flies. This Aim Hero trying to live up to his name here, and he won't be able to. That'll be Hupek able to come up big. And now Camo.
Camo moving on in for the third party. Heard a lot of action. There's also Max Aliber. But Hupek is just going to shoot up there, and everyone's going to go their separate ways. So he's safe for now.
And Camo's pretty much ahead of the group so far in retreating from this position. Mitro. What can we say about you? We want to talk about you quite a bit. He looks like did get elimination. And then you see Stompy trying to come through, who could get third party from Mitro from the other side. Stompy's going to be in a very precarious position here, Speedy.
Camo, just locking in on him, not really firing. He wants to get into circle here, but he gets tagged from the back.
He's got the Rift if he needs it. You can see Camo trying to bide his time. That's going to be Cloud walking around him here. Just going to be healing back up, get back to that 200 HP as the Storm will start to shrink here.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to waste that Rift if you don't have to. So you just want to hold on to that until end game.
So here's the question for you, right? It's a line that everyone knows. Is it true if you don't use it, you lose it? In these situations when you're on so low HP, you just have to use the Rift, right? Like, the thing is, you're most likely not going to get elimination. You need to run to have another chance later on to maybe break into some points in the top 50.
It absolutely depends. You definitely want the Rift for endgame. You want it for those, far-moving circles. But we saw a player earlier. He didn't use the Rift. He ended up going down. So if you're in a tight spot, in a little pinch, you want to get out of there, you have to burn your mobility. You have to get out of there, and you have to live to fight another day.
Exactly, and I honestly, I would respect that play. Just unfortunate that we didn't see it.
TSM Cloud and TSM Myth,
right next to
neighbors next to each other, duos tomorrow.
Yeah, well, they're enemies today, but they're friends tomorrow, or hopefully they'll be friends again tomorrow, as Bizzle does get elimination for himself. You see Stompy doesn't have the greatest kit in terms of weapons, but he does have the 2 rifts, and he does have a lot of shields to use here as Cloud's being pressured by Airwax. Airwax's thing is, he's been a professional player in other games before in a MOBA. He's been playing at the top level, and I know Stress back there is looking at him to be one of the top performers over the course of this weekend.
Absolutely. Airwax, another day, another land.
A little provoked. Again, he's going to have the shotgun, the rifts. We see a lot of rifts in play technically at the moment. So when we get into those later stages, things are going to get extremely crazy. A lot of players are actually still towards that Dusty Divot side and towards the southern side of the circle. So I'm imagining we're going to have here, Speedy, in a few moments, people start to transition here up north.
Yeah, the majority of the lobby is outside of the circle right now. Most of these players at the broken Pirate Outpost need to start going on in. I expect a launch pad going in. This is TSM taking out Kripa.
Yeah, good old myth. And then Seth as well. Nice little drop down. He actually catches his opponent off guard. He wasn't even looking towards him.
I always get nervous when I see them drop into a box. Traps could go down, could easily turn the other direction.
Yeah, and you don't want to be eliminated from a trap, at least in game one. Mitro as well, looking for the shot the window. I believe he did get that one. But now we've got Camo there. We've got Nate, Scram, Tomo from Alliance, Sakona as well. Smeep off to the side. Again, the duo from Milan. And Animal, we haven't even touched on him just yet. I think Zacubus was saying he's a player he expects to do well.
You definitely want to keep an eye on Animal. Yesterday during the practice matches, him and his teammate Aspect actually won 2 practice games back-to-back.
Wow. That's a good sign. That's an amazing sign.
That is an amazing sign.
I just hope they didn't peak too early in the tournament, you know? Get those 2 wins yesterday and then not be able to perform when it comes to the actual matches.
Absolutely. Hopefully the adrenaline slept them and they're nice, calm, and collected. Ghost Aiden, they're on the side, just trying to get into zone.
Yeah, good to see him still alive and kicking. I believe you mentioned before Aim Hero was the player that was over towards Tilted, so it looks like they're just disengaged from each other. Storm Surge in effect as well.
So Storm Surge, if a player is, you know, for example here, Provoked has 265 above the threshold.
Yeah.
He's in a nice position. He doesn't have to worry about it, but for the player who doesn't have a lot of player damage dealt, he's going to start getting his health ticked. In a really tough position, he's definitely going to want to start pushing or laying down some fire. Well, otherwise, he's going to be out of the tournament.
Yeah, and, well, at least out of the first round. He's out of the tournament. We're not kicking him out yet, Speedy.
Out of the game.
Yeah, out of the game. We can see Aiden going to be taking high ground here as we see a lot of players trying to build on and add their own little rooms to this giant castle being built. Milan has fallen, unfortunately. But again, just match number 1. Just turned 16 about a day, or actually not a day, so about a week ago, if I'm not mistaken. And Jarkos, the man that came in as the wild card into this, didn't even know he's going to be playing here today in this SOLOS tournament. He's still alive here as we're about to approach that top 50.
I'm definitely excited to see him still alive. I definitely want to see how he does. I believe I see Liquid 72 Hours there still alive as well. So he managed to, you know, get a safe drop and rotate on into the circle.
Jarkos has to be careful, though. He's got Jesse off to his side. He's got Skix under them, but we're at these stages where everyone's going to be on everyone. It's about hitting these shots, getting the eliminations where you can get them. You see Jarko still just looking for a couple of shots here in between. He's got a launch pad, so there's no need for him to rush into the circle just yet.
Yeah, the ideal situation here is that someone else puts down their launch pad and you just take their launch pad. You don't really want to put down your own.
Yeah.
You want to save it for endgame, save it for that, you know, those long moving circles. And most of these players over here by the diner definitely needs to start thinking about that rotation.
Cloud has fallen, by the way, so TSM going to be losing another player so far in
Kuna's still in it.
Yeah, he's still around, and Zeke as well. Like the thing is, I don't mean it to sound bad, but there was a lot of underperforming out of players that we saw in the Polish tournament that we expected to be into the top levels. Now go into this tournament, which is, I mean, unarguably a more difficult tournament for everyone. It's going to be even more harder for him to perform, right?
Yeah.
You would imagine, but he's been able to break top 50 so far.
Yeah, players like Zeke, who maybe didn't perform as well as they might have wanted in last week's tournament, definitely a chip on their shoulder, definitely want to prove it to themselves and everyone here.
Jarkos has gone down. The Brazilians have struck. History gets his elimination on the board, eliminating our wild card player. And look at this. We see, I believe there's cannons coming through.
Liquid Chap still alive. I believe I saw Razaru. Energy Zate, another NA player that you want to keep an eye on. Definitely one of the top. I believe this is Saf's teammate.
Yep, Saf and Zate. Different orgs, but friends nonetheless here. But we're even hearing some bottle rockets going off here. You can see Zate trying to get some high ground, though. He's not going to have the ultimate high ground. It's going to be Alpha, the one to have this, looking for some shot. He's got a couple of clingers. It's not very often, Speedy, we see clingers last this long into the game.
No, probably just saving it here for endgame. You definitely want to save those clingers for some easy, quick cleanup kills so that you could get your HP up. Zay just kind of holding that wall.
Getting a couple of rockets off here or there too. Trying to get spammed out of Alpha.
Alpha just not letting up. And when you're in high ground like this, you definitely don't want to let up. You want to get as many tags as possible. Ghost Bizzle's still alive.
Well, this is now the question as we get to, as Funk Bomb has been eliminated. The Storm is going to start to move here momentarily, and this is where people need to have that material to build, to get across, to be able to maintain some sort of positions. I want to see how Alpha is going to try to maintain this high ground. He's going to have to be very careful in how he builds. Those launch pads as well. I think everyone's going to be jumping on top of this here, Speedy. You can see the pressure starting to tick in here. A lot of elimination, a lot of damage being done. Skix has fallen. Sakona takes down Nate. Faye's going to be out, I believe, with their 2 players. And Bizzle, he's just trying not to get pushed on. He's trying to not be aggressive on. He's looking to retreat away from this one, looking for another fight. And he might be able to get it here. He might be able to get this elimination done. He's still looking for the damage. The building has come in. He's down to 50 HP. He can lose this fight potentially, Speedy.
Bizzle's so weak here. Dropping into his box. He ends up turning it around.
Takes down Little J. Zextro as well going to fall, one of the most aggressive players we have in Fortnite.
Liquid Vivid, Vinny still alive. Camo still alive. Bizzle just trying to get his HP up after that engagement.
I think Nikoff, well, he died to the Storm Surge. A little unfortunate for there. Not going to be in the best situation. Demo's going to fall there, as you see from the low ground. Jamside, where did he even come from? He's somehow been able to take the ultimate high ground away from everyone as the Storm continues to move through. Look, everyone with Crazy Llama not going. Japan has lost out a player. And Jamside, he's got 3 eliminations. That's 15 points already. Can he maintain this spot, though?
Jamside with 16 builds left. He can't maintain this high ground. He actually gets to drop down 10 more builds. He has to get an elimination here. 105 pump going on in.
He's looking for Zayd. He's too focused on Zayd. He's being shot from a couple of different directions. You can see Bizzle there towards the low ground. Spieth, Vinny. You have Skeet to the left-hand side with Camo and Animal. Zayd's fallen. He's now dropped out of this one. Jamside going to be floating back in to retain this high ground position.
Bizzle trying to take high ground. Bizzle ends up taking the high ground from Jamside. Jamside, no builds left.
This is tough. How do you get out of this position? He's got the maximum shield he can possibly get.
He has a launch pad, but he can't even put it down because he has no builds.
Oh, he's looking to escape this, looking to maybe build down through this tower as the Storms and eventually close in on him. Tomo is looking very good, back to full HP. Vinny on a sliver of health left, he's just trying to stay alive towards the lower end side.
Jamside ended up going down, but Ghost Bizzle maintains the high ground.
Oh, he's trying to. He's got enough builds to do it. He's got a first aid kit if he needs as well. Animal has fallen as Smeef's able to get his elimination, being brought in by Milan as his dual partner and doing some serious work here. It's Bizzle on the high ground, able to help get the damage.
Goes down 1v1.
Skeet's the one to get these eliminations. Down to that 1v1. He's going to drop down, take a little bit of damage from this one, but can he get this elimination? 14 builds left to go. He's got the shotgun. He knows where his enemy's going to be. But the time is ticking away. He goes for the jump shot, actually on the build as well, trying to look for any sort of damage he can engage with before he goes for the drop, before he goes
Bizzle with no more builds.
Well, now he's going to have to engage into this one, right, Speedy? You can see towards the
He has to drop down. He has to drop down.
50 HP left. He's still trying to sprint. Yes, SMG with 19 HP. Bizzle takes the first victory out of today.
Bizzle, our secret skirmish, first place winner 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
you love to see it.
You love to see it. You love to see that consistency as well. We didn't get to talk about this at the start of the show, but consistency is amazing. But sometimes you need to have those standout games. But hell, if you're consistently in top 3 like this, consistency is perfect for you.
Absolutely. We saw Bizzle there primed and ready to retake high ground once Jamside ended up with no more mats. Took the high ground from there. It was just a piece of cake for him.
And when you're playing like this, right, this is the first game of the day in solos, and you just won the first match. You have to be so hyped and pumped now into the next.
Dude, I'm absolutely hyped. But that's a good start to the day here, Katowice. Did you enjoy game number 1, right? Hey, they're warming up. They're warming up. Bizzle's not warming up, though. He's come out the gates hot, gentlemen. A player that we talked about a lot at the start of the day, how he's currently second in the standings as far as earnings is concerned. What a way to start the day, though, for him. The victory royale and playing that final situation perfectly.
One step closer to overtaking Tfue. One step closer. That's like the first little thing.
It's a tiny little step.
It's a tiny little step, but it's one of the
shimmy,
7 he needs, I guess.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Speedy, obviously, one thing that was stood out to me, maybe in comparison to what we saw last weekend, was the amount of early eliminations that we saw in comparison to last weekend. Last weekend, we were getting down to like the final couple of zones. We still had around 80 to 90 players left in those lobbies. I think when we got towards the final couple of circles there, we had around 50, 60, and all players seemed much more willing to take those engagements.
Absolutely. I believe some of these players were definitely paying close attention to last weekend, right? And they wanted to incorporate that W key, that aggressive gameplay into this tournament. And it showed, 50 players moving circle. definitely night and day versus like 80 players moving circle last week.
I think it's confidence as well. I think you're seeing all the top players who maybe have not had a ton of experience with this format. They're willing to, or actually not even willing, they're just that confident. They play that kind of style. It doesn't matter what format you give them, it doesn't matter what weapons you give them. They're going to try to get aggressive against you, and they're going to force you to make the mistake. Because Fortnite is a game all about mistakes. If you force someone to misbuild, or if you get above them and they aren't able to defend themselves correctly, you get those elims. So instead of playing defensively, play the style you know, play aggressive, force them to be the ones to defend.
Absolutely. If your opponent's making a mistake, you have to capitalize on that, and we saw a lot of players do that.
All right, gentlemen. Well, one man who didn't make many mistakes in our opening game is the man who picks up the first victory royale of the day. Adam's down on the floor with Bizzle.
Thanks very much, buddy. I'm joined by Bizzle right now, a Game 1 winner. Bizzle, that was intense. That was amazing. You must feel like $1 million after that very first game. Walk us through the end game there. How important was the high ground?
It was definitely important. You saw a lot of people low ground and getting stuck with zone, so it was really important to stay high and stay away from all the chaos.
When you come into that kind of final circle, there's 40 players, like top-tier players altogether. How does it feel to play? How does mindset change? How does it feel to be in that moment?
I'm playing against the best players all the time, and it's nothing different. Just play your game, and it's proven to work. I've been winning games for a while now, and it just goes my way most of the time.
I've been playing in front of this live audience, this amazing audience here as well, playing against these top players. How much of an experience is for you as well as a player being here in this major, enjoying being here with everyone today?
This is insane. This is probably the biggest crowd I've ever seen at a Fortnite event, so it's a first time for me, and I'm just glad to see all the people enjoying it.
Well, Bizzle, you are the Game 1 winner. Confidence, you know, I think you got four eliminations there. You got yourself the win as well. Points are starting to tally up. Confidence must be sky high right now for the rest of the tournament.
Confidence is high, but it's a big series, and I need to play good throughout the whole series. Still got 6 games to go, and hopefully I can take another 1 or 2 wins.
Well, one more time, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your Game 1 winner. It's Bizzle! Best of luck with the rest of the tournament, buddy. Mark, back to you guys. What a great start to this competition.
Fantastic stuff, and great to hear from Bizzle there. A couple of things that stood out for me. Experience, saying he's been in these situations so many times now. He plays against the best in the world all the time. These endgame situations don't phase it.
And that's, I think, so important to realize. Like, to be really good at Fortnite, you have to experience all these situations time and time again to learn how to deal with them. And for him, it just seemed like, even in the interview, it was like another day at work, right? It was like, all right, another game, easy. It didn't seem like he was flustered. It didn't seem like he was, you know, like super excited. I mean, obviously he won, but he realized, as he said in the interview, that's just game 1. There's still 6 more to come.
Bizzle there just trying to contain his excitement. I don't know if you were watching, but like he is always primed and ready to retake high ground at all moments. You know, he knows the guy up top might run out of mats soon, and as soon as that happens, as soon as he senses some sort of weakness, he pounces. So we see this every single game, definitely going for the high ground, or at least being positioned to go for the high ground.
So obviously one thing we should point out as well is, you know, we have North America taking home the first win of the day. We were hoping for I'm just saying, obviously, I didn't want to say it because you're stood next to me, and I wasn't looking forward to the rapturous reaction to me saying that. It is an international tournament. One fight that really stood out for me, and we were watching it back as we do see some of these replays coming in from our game number 1. Eric versus Demo at the start. I think this is the first competitive battle at a live event that Eric had. And he went down to Demo. Demo took that battle and absolutely put him on his back. He actually chunked him with the pump to kick things off. How do you come back from that? When you're going up against one of the best players in the world, it's your first time in a lobby with these players at a live event, and you go down in your first battle against one of the best in the world. It's a tough one to bounce back from, right? You kind of have, that's a learning on the job at its best.
I think you just kind of forget about it, right? You can't let any one of those eliminations or any one of your misplays or missteps put you on tilt. You know, you have to keep your focus throughout the entire series. It was just one game, right? It's just one round. It's not a big deal. You still have 6 more to go. There's no rush to perform at like the top level just yet. And I think he was happier to go down to someone like Demo than to someone he didn't recognize as well.
Yeah, I think that's very true. It's a very good way to look at it. That's going to do it all for our game number 1, though, ladies and gentlemen. Bizzle takes home your first victory royale of the day. We're going to go for a break right now. When we're back, it's time for game number 2. ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Katowice Royale. We've had our first victory royale of the day in our game number 1, and no surprises to many of you at home watching. It was Bizzle who took home that first victory royale with 4 eliminations along the way. My name is Onset. I'm going to be your desk host for the next 3 days, and we have a little bit of a change at the desk now. We have Jason staying here. You're still here. Well done. You didn't go anywhere. You didn't lose you. But at the end there, we have Martin Creek. Fantastic to have you on the desk, buddy. What a great start for Bizzle, right?
Just amazing. I mean, Bizzle, winner of Secret Skirmish versus Skite, European winner of Winter Royale. It's just an amazing start of the day.
And obviously, you know, he picked up a lot of eliminations on the way there. 4 decent start, to be honest with you. Lots of points on the board for him. But heading into our game number 2, we saw sort of the, Sky going up against him there. We had that EU versus NA battle. We talked about how much of a big worldwide competition this is with the 28 different nations. You just feel like that might have spread a bit of belief. If Sky could have won that battle, maybe a bit of belief would have gone through some of the other regions and some of the players in attendance.
I mean, I think all the regions were pretty happy. Well, I mean, can't say pretty happy if they didn't finish number 1, right? I think they were generally okay with their performance of the first game. But yeah, like I think if Skite did get that initial start, things could have been a little bit different. I think we would have heard him screaming with excitement getting that elimination. There's one player I want to point out. If I can do that really quickly. Am I allowed to do that?
Of course you can.
I'm allowed to do that.
This is all you, Jason.
Because we talked about Season 8 and the changes, right? And we talked about some new items, some new things in the game, like the Pirate Cannon.
Oh, are you really going to do this to him?
I think it's worth bringing up. Tyofsky, who is streaming his own point of view. If you want to check him out, just head over to his channel. He launched himself off the map, and all I heard was "niet, niet, niet," and then some other words after that that I can't say on air.
So we will make mistakes, right? Okay, mistakes were made, I think is maybe what he'll say. But he's got plenty of rounds ahead of him.
He does.
But if you do have the chance to go and check it out, it's on Twitter, it's out there. Genuinely one of the funniest things I've seen in quite a long time. So
just to jump in really quickly, by the way, Skite, who did not even win, he came in second, is actually still ahead of Bizzle. So Bizzle, who won in placing, is not winning overall in the standings, which is huge.
I mean, that's the importance of eliminations, right?
I mean, look at those nationalities, Martin. I mean, across the board there, no one dominating at all at the moment. A real spread of different nationalities being represented in this top 20.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking really spread right now. And, I mean, we're only 1 game in right now, right? So, I mean, a lot can change. And we do have 6 games left, so, yeah.
A lot can change, but it's nice to see just not like Canada, USA, 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 Canada, USA. In top 10. I like to see all these other regions really starting out strong. I want to see them get stronger, though. I want to see the Korean boys. I want to see them step up into some top 10s. I want to see Japan as well. Crazy Llama. I'd love to see him in a top 10 position. History and Fa from Brazil. I want to see them as well in those kind of situations. And like we've been saying, it's 1 game. There's still 6 to go. There's no rush.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I think we were all very pleased about was the speed at which that first game was played. In comparison to last weekend, we saw some of the solos a little bit, players feeling themselves a little bit, sort of feeling each other out a little bit more. But there was some players willing to engage in the battles here, as we see some other shots of the IEM Expo that we have here. And, some of the players are just playing around some Fortnite while they're here. But one thing I want to go back to just before I was talking about there is the willingness to engage. And a lot of these players, we have some of the best in the world here, and you can see they're all confident in their own ability to win those battles when they're presented.
And comparing it to the Polish edition last week, we saw a lot of players when it came to solos, they would just run away from each other. If they saw anyone, they would build up in a 1-by-1, then they'd be like, all right, do I really need to take this fight? And more often than not, they said, okay, no, we're just going to back away. But here, it's complete opposite. If you see someone, you build up your 1-by-1, but you're not retreating. You want these limbs.
And we do have the Storm Surge, right? So you're kind of bound. Like, you're forced to attack someone at some point. And we did see Domentos last game. He was 1 damage below the Storm Surge threshold. And he was having such troubles trying to find someone to put some bullets in. But, yeah, eventually he did find it. But, yeah.
There was a few little early markers being put down by players as well, wasn't there? There was one, I think Kuna picked up a kill and he had a little dance on top of the player that he eliminated as well.
Celebration.
Little things like that. Yeah, celebration. That's a good way of putting it. But it's just those little things that you can get in your head a little bit. If you come up against that player again in a 1v1 and it's like, ooh, I remember losing this one last time, and it's a little seed of doubt. I like that play, to be honest.
Well, speaking of losing fights, Aspect was knocked out really early on, so he lost on his drop, which, again, like when you're playing against your own regions, you're used to having positions open to you that no one's going to contest you, or at least the people that will contest you, you know how they play. Everything's out the window when it comes to this. You're playing against the best in the world, and if there's someone contesting you, it's like a 50-50 fight. There's no guarantee you're going to win any of these battles. Now, if you're Aspect, do you change up your drop location? Do you stick with it again because maybe you misplayed something and you're feeling confident the second time? But if you go into the second time and you lose again, how's it going to affect you mentally in the whole match? It's a lot for the players to take into account.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really. It's really hard to predict other players' drop spots, right? Especially with the new map changes.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're playing. There's different regions, and yeah, it's just really hard to predict. And sometimes you just have to step back, go into, like, maybe drop somewhere else and try your luck elsewhere. But yeah, a lot of places are contested.
Well, here you go then. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, game number 2 is very much underway. Gentlemen, take it away.
All right, so starting things off with our first round victor, it's going to be Bizzle here in Dusty Divot. He's able to get, I believe, like you said, the 4 eliminations. And let's see if he can do it another time here, as he's pretty much going to be uncontested at the moment. You got Myth as well, who had a really good game, actually took down Kripa. And for a player who's had such a rough time these last few months, it's great to see he's come into this, you know, ready to go and already performing well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, he did take down Kripa, and that must give him somewhat of a confidence boost. Just going into taking down a European player and showing, yeah, NA's here ready to show you how good we are. And yeah.
You know, forget NA. I think it's just, I'm here to play. I'm here to perform.
That's
I
right.
got this elimination. Forget NA. I don't care about them. I care about me. And we're seeing some action over towards the volcano as well. 72 Hours had landed there using these vents as well to get some quick loot and potentially get out. I still want to see some Conga, though. I want to see some Conga lines being built up here. Maybe in the duos.
And he's uncontested here, and that's what I love about Volcano. You can just, like, fly around, make sure you pick up all of that loot. If you engage in a fight, you could just, I mean, you could just use those vents to your advantage and dip out, or, I mean, just go aggressive as well. And here's beautiful Tomato Temple. We have Jarl here. Looks like he's contested by someone, not quite sure. There's a third player as well making his way down the hill here.
0-7, unfortunately, has fallen there. So again, one of our Chinese players is going to be eliminated as Animal was able to secure that one. We're going to see Milan, though, again, the Prodigy, 28 HP. Not the best of places so far. Aspect again has gone down. I think it was to Margin, or Magan, sorry. That was 2 games in a row that he's lost his drop. And we were just talking about that, theorizing what can happen in these situations. Do you continue to go for it? In the meantime, Milan is trying to run away from Animal, who's just hunting him down, trying to get this in with stink bombs. And Milan, he's just looking for an escape route, but I don't think he's going to have a chance here, Martin.
He does have a shotgun, so he might get a lucky shot, but I mean, goes down to 8 health. If he manages to get a lucky shot, he might be able to take this, but it's not looking too good for Milan. We'll try to make it out here. We have a third player making his way into Snobby, so this could be just what Milan needs to make it right. Yeah, look, Animal and Aris now in a little fight here.
So somehow Milan gets lucky, summons Ares to come over here and help him out somehow. And now Animal's not able to chase on the limit, and he's gonna lose his life. He almost had the elim onto Milan and Ares. I don't know if he knows, but he just saved Milan's life.
Oh, he did, and I'm not even sure he knows Milan is still there. Milan just made his way a bit, like, switch houses. Maybe he'll find some heals, and yeah, he got a free pass.
And Eric, who dropped to Demo before, his first big tournament here, is looking to have a little bit of a change of fate here into round 2. He will have Jordan, one of the 2 Australian twins. Seth, in the meantime, throwing a boogie bomb, I think that was, in towards Eric, looking to catch him out. And he even has the heavy sniper as well, but I believe he's not looking for any sort of up-close and personal engagement, so he's just going to back away.
Yeah, no shotgun makes you do that. Like, you do really want to fight in a distance if you don't have that shotgun. And yeah, I mean, we do have Myth is in here again in Lonely Kripa. We see Kripa there on the map as well, but he's just spectating as Mies and Myth is in a little fight here.
Myth, he needs a Salim, and he's going to have another player coming in momentarily. He wants to take Kripa down, another chance, and there we go on the high ground. Some damage being traded. Kripa's going to be there, Myth. He doesn't spot him out, but Kripa's not going to hit the shots. He actually hits him with the Klinger. He catches Myth with the Klinger. Myth is out. And Kripa gets his revenge.
Yeah, that's right, he gets his revenge, but now he's on the lower ground. He did manage to sneak that, to steal that elimination, and I mean, his health goes up, but gets hit by that explode. Yeah, it does. Oh.
He's running low on ammo, though. You can see 5 shots left on the silenced AR. He's got the compact SMGs he's spraying through. He's got the grenade launchers while he's running out of ammo left and right. This might be the opportunity for him to just run away and give this one up. Unless he's feeling that confident, you can see him trying to replace some walls here, Martin. Is this what you would do in this situation?
I mean, he doesn't have a shotgun, right? So I would probably just decide to dip out. I mean, he did get the explode hit, so you know he might feel confident enough. Does get some hits in as well with his P9 with his SMG here.
Yeah, I like how he actually took that second to Kripa to actually build up to make sure, trying to go for the fight himself. And Kripa will fall. Simiz will clean up that elimination. Jarkos, in the meantime, had fallen during that engagement. Smeef's going to be out of this as well if you didn't catch someone on the activity feed. Aspect and Animal both out as well, so Sentinel's already losing their 2 players. And it's already been a rough start. Svenos is out as well. Nero's out. Bowman's out. Zayd is already out as well from NRG.
A bunch of different things here, yeah. A lot of different players going down. And look at this. I mean, we do have Sakona here, one of my favorites, versus Tux. Looks like they will engage in a fight. Sakona doesn't really have that good of an inventory. Gets the hit, though, with the hunting rifle. And, I mean, at this point, you do have to push, right?
Oh, well, we're going to find out if he's going to go for that dynamite. Still going to be in the hand of Tux as the pressure has come in. Tux taking the high ground away from Sakona.
Yeah, so Sakona trying to find his way up here. Will probably just decide to wait a little bit. You don't have to push up. Could take the building down as well if he wants to. He does know that he has the health advantage. He's not really aware of Tuck's minis though. I mean, he does have the attack versus Sakona. We know that Sakona doesn't really have any close range except for that SMG.
I like, though, how Tux, every time he sees Sakona try to build up, he just stops him. He's like, all right, no, I'm keeping this position, so Sakona, you're going to have to find the low ground. Tux is looking for the engagement, looking to drop in. He's actually almost being pulled down here. He's got to be careful of potentially any traps. He goes for the end. He gets the window.
Nice
he gets the first shot, but it's just attack shotgun. Sakona gets his own ramp up to survive for now. He also still has the minigun to use. And not to mention, now the Storm's here to help with some damage.
Yeah, at this point, you do need to finish this fight up. There's no way both of these players will make it out of the Storm. This fight has to end, and it's looking pretty grim here.
Well, we do have Envy taking down Fat Fox and really on the elimination feed, and Tux will get the elimination himself, get himself topped off in HP, and he should be able to safely transition into the next zone. Dementos, Hupek, and Jesse now in a 1v1v1 battle with Jesse on the high ground. Hupek trying to fight his way through here, and Dementos just hoping that all this fighting stops and he's able to just run away.
Jesse does have that redeploy, so he can make his way out of there. Does not want to be a part of this. Dementos just camping a little bit with his campfire, making sure that, all right, I'm going to stay safe here. You guys do whatever you want. I'm going to chill back. And I mean, it looks like both players dipped out.
Look at this. Milan is still alive. He was down to, what, like sub 20 HP before? He's like at 18 health in that little bit of a battle he had where Ares came out and bailed him out up against, I think that was Animal.
Yeah, and made it all the way from Snobby as well. Oh, Majin not looking too good here over at the Tivoli. Keemstar does have the high ground, and Skix just waiting it out a little bit. I'm not sure if they know that McGinn is low, both of them at least, but just a little bit of a standoff here.
It's actually a name we haven't even talked about yet, Kinstar. Been very impressed with his, I don't know, his gameplay over this, last practically year. When we've seen him in these tournaments, I've been pleasantly surprised by him. But unfortunately, I don't think he's been pleasantly surprised with the results he's gotten. And so far right now, he's not looking in the greatest of positions. But again, with the siphon factor, you could easily turn this bad position into a good one if you can get these elims. And he also has a rift if he needs to get away.
Yeah, that's right. The bottle rocket's doing some work. I believe they did 20 damage to Majin there. Just going to reposition a little bit. As you mentioned, he did have the rift, so he can make his way out. Majin's inventory looking pretty good though. He does have that close range, the long range. He does have some rotation items, and not to mention the 6 clingers.
Yeah, and those clingers can be huge here too. Couple of replays. Bowman has gone down. This is the fight we saw with Ares. He's able to actually save Milan somehow, and Myth, unfortunately, just getting caught in the back. Kripa sticks him with the clinger right there.
Yeah, he actually got the stick off. I didn't see that. I thought he got the hit off a headshot. Oh.
And the thing is, he stuck him with it, and he shot him in the head after. So it's like, all right, that's just even more disrespect for you. Hey, I'm just going to eliminate you in any way I possibly can with any damage. As Muddy Hive was in a 1v1 there, too, able to win out on that. I think Majin actually just won a fight, too. He's got the 1 elimination, even lower on HP.
Yeah,
he's been very rough.
Must have picked someone off. His health is a little bit lower. I believe he's using a campfire right now. Oh, Sting's coming in from Seth as Jesse's trying to push his way up here.
Thing is, Storms as well starting to center around that northeast side, which was the part of the map that's been changed the most, if I'm not mistaken here, Martin. So things are going to be very interesting to see how things transition from there on. You see Seth now looking to go for the push in onto Jesse.
Ooh, hiding inside the
using using the storm to hide, so he actually doesn't take as much damage.
Yeah, we've been talking about that. If you are being gate kept through the zone, you could just use the storm to your advantage and rotate inside the storm rather than just trying to push your way out when someone's in there. Like,
well, not only was Seth fighting Jesse, now he's fighting Jordan as well. You got the twins here, and Jordan actually caused a little bit of traction. He hits the shot, he gets the shield now gone. The heavy sniper doing some serious work.
I believe he did hit the quad there actually,
no.
and not him, but we have Storm Surge coming in, but you see that set is above the threshold. It doesn't need to take this fight, but if you're confident, I mean, what do you do? Oh, gets a little bit hurt there.
But he doesn't have a shotgun, Martin. He doesn't have the greatest equipment to fight up close and personal. He's trying to out-heal here with the bandits now. Only 2 left to go, so he's not going to stay healthy for a long time. In the meantime, Envy has fallen, though. As he only, I believe, 1 elimination, this round.
Jordan does have 10 bandages, though, so he can take his sweet time. It's a little bit more annoying for Seth here, who only seemed to have 1 bandage. And yeah, it's going to be a standoff here until Seth... I mean, do you think Seth will try to push up here, or will he just make his way out? I would make my way out, and it looked like he is.
Well, can he get away from this? He's out of healing. Storm is taken away. I think he has to look for the fight now against Jordan. He needs that extra 50 HP, and Jordan's more than happy to... No, not give him the opportunity for it, as you saw Seth there in a split second was able to go for a shot. Vivid, though, in the meantime, not in a great position here, Martin.
Yeah, Alpha versus Vivid, and Vivid was actually Alpha's duo partner, Bowman's partner back in the Secret Skirmish. So they have maybe a little fight here to see. Bowman belongs to me. Vivid a bit low here,
14 HP.
14 health, and in the storm and no heals. He does have to finish this up now. Oh, hits the beautiful pump, and Alpha eventually goes down.
A crucial elimination for him. He was most certainly going to fall to the storm. He's got some bandages, so he's most certainly going to be able to make his way through, but that was too close for comfort. But that's what you see out of the top players, to realize the situation you're in and be able to make the right decision at the right time.
And here we have it over by Lagoons. Jamside trying to claim the wall from this, but I mean, what can you really do here? He's trying to claim the wall. All he has to do is claim it, edit, and get that pump shot. But he just can't claim this wall.
He's got to be careful that his opponent doesn't take a window and go for the shot. Now the Ram's going to come through the edit as well. He's trying to run away, and Jamside will clean that up. Gets his first elimination now done.
Yeah, gets some extra shields, a bunch of shields actually, and he's looking pretty good. I did see he had about 100 builds left. Yeah, he's in the zone, so not much he needs to do now. He does seem to have the Lagoons all to himself.
Quick update as well. Fa from Brazil, from INS, has dropped earlier on in this round, so he's no longer to be with us. We did see Crypto fall. Aiden's going to be down as well. On top of 72 hours has fallen. A little bit of a rough time here for some of our players. Sath as well. I feel like a commentator cursed him coming into this entire solo tournament. He was the player I had to win the whole thing, but he is starting off not as strong as he'd hoped.
And I'm just loving this circle. We have players that need to rotate through the volcano. I was kind of hoping for the circle to stick around volcano for a little bit longer, but I'm going to be satisfied with this. Poverty just hanging around in this little 1x1 here, right above History, who's not looking that good on health, but I do believe they're inside the circle, so they can just take a little time, maybe try to go for a third party here. His inventory looking kind of okay. Materials, not so much.
Well, we're getting closer, though, to cross into that top 50. 64 left to go, and yeah, History might not be in the greatest of positions, but he also doesn't really have to move because he's inside the circles you mentioned. There's no need for him to force out a fight Poverty. And a player we talked about is not really having the greatest performance in the Polish edition of this tournament, but he is still alive, still fighting now.
And I love this. Just look at Bissel's setup right next to the vent here. And he can just, I mean, if the circle moves, jump in the vent, go for a free rotation. And that's what I love about the right side, the top right side. There's so many vents, you can use them to your advantage. You can rotate pretty much through the entire side of the top right.
And I think what's cool about Bissell right now is we're seeing this having eliminations early, but that just means when it gets to those late stages, he's so quick at reacting and so good with his aim to be able to secure the limbs he does need to start to build up a lead. And if he runs away with this second round, I feel like everyone out there's going to have to start to look towards him as the man to beat if you want to be able to place in that top one.
Players are starting to hug each other as the circle gets closer and closer, and smaller rather. And look at that, we have Item here looking really good in his inventory. A bunch of shields, enough materials to make it to the end game. I mean, not a lot of rotation items, but as we mentioned, the vents will work in your favor. You don't really need these rotation items at this point. Rifts are always so good to have, though, once we get to those moving circles. And as you see in the minimap, you can see that supply drops actually showing up on the map now. So that's a change with this new season.
You can see, I think a player is right next to it here, looking for some sort of chance to secure it. You can see a lot of players are already inside of the circles. The Storm is going to continue to move forward. Item Just trying to bide his time. I can respect this. Hupik trying to go for Shinken here on the low ground. Trying to edit his quick little window in, but we know in the next few minutes is where things are really going to start to kick off here. Zakoner is also out of this fight. There's so many players that we expected to have, you know, these top 10, top 20 finishes that just haven't made it through. Even Vivid has been eliminated.
Yeah, anything can happen here, really. We see Funk Bomb here setting up a little bit. Razuru still alive in the bottom right corner. As you mentioned, Chinken is here. He does have a lot of health, looking really good. A little bit of shots going off here, trying to third party. I'm not quite sure, maybe people are above the storm threshold or not. Sky is still alive.
Yeah, Sky, I mean, #1 EU player basically. Able to maintain a better position here than he did before, but he's still not really into the points just yet. Tap Shotgun still here for Hunter, so he's having a rough game. A lot of players, I think, that we see, Martin, have been having rough games in terms of their weaponry. Not a lot of pump shotguns, at least out there from what we've seen.
Joel's trying to push up on the Sky tier, but he's in such an open area, so you did get some shots fired upon him from the back. Sky seems like Sky managed to pick up some shields. Not quite sure. Oh, he does have some heals as well. We do see him probably applying some bandages here. Yep, so he's back on it, right? He's back on it.
Eric again has followed, unfortunately. That's going to be to Dementos this time. History able to get his elimination in onto Zypan. And Sky is just, he's being fired in from behind, from the front. Jarl and Hunter both be closing in on him. To survive, this is going to be difficult. Boyer takes down Nate. And Hunter, instead of actually going for the engagement, just going to back off. Use that launch pad to get a better position, hopefully for his sake. Just look at how many players he just landed around. Kinstar is going to still be alive. Tyovsky has not flown off the map here from the cannon this time, so he's looking to redeem himself in round 2.
And just look at this hill here. This is uphill. Players need to rotate. Really, really rough, but there is a vent there up on the top side of the map.
Yeah, that geyser. It's got to be massive, right? And the thing is, it's about the players who can adapt the quickest, because that wasn't there in Season 7. Now in Season 8, it's a free rotation technically, but just think if you're that player who can hit the shots and just wait for everyone to rush into it, clean up some eliminations yourself potentially.
That's right. You will probably predict players to start using this vent soon. So see, Hupik has a pretty good spot here, just guarding the vent. So it's not really a free rotation. It's pretty much risky. It's a high risk, high reward kind of play.
I almost want to see someone like build above it, just so if anyone tries to take it, they're just going to hit their head and not actually be able to escape. Milan has taken on Boyer, so he's gotten on the board here as well. Golden AR here for Hupik, who has that one elimination to his name, is looking for more. You can see Cloud. You can see a lot of big names here still left alive, and now the Storm Surge going to be active. You see the Geyser being used, and the Storm is going to move a little bit southwest of the volcano, so we're not going to see the action there just yet. I still really hope, Barton, that we do get the Storm to move in that direction, because we've already seen what mountains can really do in these moving storms. That's
true. I mean, the first moving circle will move pretty far, so it could make its way all the way into the volcano, and I would just love to see that. The chaos that would ensue. Hupik taking a little bit of damage.
Yeah. And Zeke took down Milan too, so he's going to be out of the fight. Crazy Llama. Demo as well going to drop. That's to Black Shoe. Bizzle still going to be there fighting, and you can see the high ground's going to be taken from him. It's going to be Zextro, the aggressive player, looking for something. You can see Bizzle uses the ramp to actually launch himself away with some distance, but he goes back to the fight nonetheless. I think it's time for him to go for these elims, or at least he wants something.
A lot of players now joining this building. This is going to be a really, really close fight. I mean, just look at this. Everyone's landing pretty much on top of each other. And
yeah, 45 people left to go. And it's going to be go time here soon as the Storm is going to continue to close in. You can see just how many people are guarding these guys. As you can see, even a supply drop coming through as well. That's going to be up Jules, who's going to actually look to secure this. I'm actually curious to see what he gets out of this. In the meantime, Zextro looking for some shots. Imagine down to very low HP. He actually got the elimination here, so he gets his own elim. He gets back to 200 HP. And now he's in a great position because he even has a launch pad if he needs it.
And as you said, like, he used the vent, but it was really risky. He did end up going down. I would kind of see Zexor to maybe block it. I do think the vent is blocked now, however, like you mentioned earlier, so maybe we do get to see... actually, I do think you can go above the vent and use it, although it's blocked by buildings.
Well, Kinstar got himself a nice little double. We're going to find out if you can use it from above. Probably in a few moments here, you can see Bizzle Tomo actually trying to pressure in against him. Bizzle's got the HP advantage. Item is on the transition, very low HP. Funk Bomb as well, somehow still alive with about 10 HP to his name. If he gets this elimination onto Item, he could be looking at about 60 HP. And Zextro, Razuru, both on these high ground spots.
Razru just on the high ground does have the RPG as well, and they're looking really good. He has 3 eliminations, a lot of materials to work with, and not to mention the high ground. He's in such a good spot right now.
You see Scram, he hits that geyser, immediately gets tagged up. Everyone going into these geysers can be shot at. If you hit these, you could be netting yourself quite a few. Razru's up to 3. Ares has fallen to Zeke. Actually, a lot of eliminations coming through. Jordan's going to fall, so I think the X2 boys are going to be out of the fight in this round. Zeke eliminates himself, well, technically, from Storm Surge, I guess.
Yeah, and as we see the circle stars moving north here. So Kaiser go down in the action feed. A lot of chaos going on right now. The circle is moving slowly up the mountain here on the side of the volcano. Oh, Vato taking a lot of damage when he's trying to fly with the vent. Oh.
Let's see, Isa is going to fall to Tyovsky, he's going to fall to BloodX Jules. Looks like he's basically on the ultimate high ground position, but again, with that geyser, you can never feel safe. People can just launch themselves up towards that top position. Vato, as you mentioned before, very low on HP, as well as Hunter. He's just trying to get a little bit ahead of the storm here, maybe buy some time to heal if he has anything, but he's going to fall to Funk Bomb, who was on about 10 HP before. He's been able to build himself back up to about 75. Hunter gets tagged up from Jules. He's looking to close this one out, looking to edit his way down into this one. Zextro as well, you see him just dropping back down here from the high ground, able to get back up high in the sky, but not really able to get to a good position just yet.
Will not give up high ground for the launch pad. We'll decide to keep the high ground and just extend. Item trying to claim the high ground as well, taking some damage, but not quite sure he's going to make his way out of that. We see Bissell going down, eventually Chinken as well. Beehive not looking too good. Nikov going down. A lot of players just dropping like flies right now. Chinken down, Beehive like we mentioned. And just look at this. Jules just keep this high ground.
Just keep this position. Now the question comes into this, Spartan. Will EU take their first victory royale here in the solo tournament of the ESL Katowice Royale? You can see Jules now looking for the drop down. He's running out of materials to build with. He actually might take a lot of damage. Oh, he eliminates himself. The myth special. Jules is going to be out of the fight, and Zextro is still going to be there somehow with about 30 HP.
Keenstar in a very good position. He has the zone on his edge, but just look at this. Razru trying to pick up some mats here, pick up some existing loot, but doesn't really get the high ground any longer.
4 limbs though. This could be a big game for Keenstar. He can easily pass Bizzle if he's able to keep this pace up. You can see Razru on 5. We're starting to see these eliminations really start to rack up as we're down to the final 4 players. It's going to be Razru towards the low ground with Keenstar to his side. Hoopek just trying to stay alive in a little 1v1 as Zextro is looking to transition as well. The Storm is continuing to move here.
Won't have time to use those bandages. The Storm is moving. You need to move with it.
And he hit the shot though. He's got the shotgun towards the high ground. He's got still 4 players left to go. You can see everyone trying to be so cautious about Razru. Who won't go down? Eliminations left and right. Now it's going to be Zextro all up against Keenstar, who's looking for this final limb. The trap goes down. The trap almost getting close to finishing someone off. And it comes down. The shotgun blast. Zextro will fall. Keenstar is going to take home our second victory royale here with 5 eliminations.
Pure chaos there at the end.
That's a great word. That's a good word to explain it, the chaos. But I think it's more of the controlled chaos you saw. With those 4 players left alive, it wasn't they're just running out in different directions. They're being very careful about how they edit their way through, how they build their way through. But those double limbs that came through, I think one player got one of them, then he immediately got turned around on as well. Really unfortunate, but hey, they made top 4. That's a lot of points for yourself.
That's right. I mean, if you look at it this way, the circle was moving low ground, right, from high ground. So it's really hard to, if you maintain the high ground while the circle is moving downhill, you gotta move with it. You gotta go down some layers and make sure that you don't end up in the position which we saw, no materials, and trying to make his way down, but it's just not enough.
There we go, the Swiss Superman claims his first victory royale of the day. Congratulations to Keenstar there. 5 eliminations as well. We know how important they are. We're going to keep hammering on about it because it is what wins you these tournaments, it seems, in solo performance. What a great start for him. Second game of the day. EU's on the board with a victory royale.
And that's what we wanted to see, right? Now let's get someone from China, maybe someone from Korea, Japan, Brazil. Let's get some other countries in here involved in this. But it's really great to see as well because, I mean, Keenstar, I feel like, hasn't had the performances he's wanted to of these last few months, but he's always been a standout player in my mind. He's always been one of those players that I've always had on the tip of my tongue that I wanted to see to really start to perform, and seeing him win game number 2 was great.
And what better way, like you mentioned, game number 2, if you want to make your way back in, we have the first couple of games here, just a perfect way to get back into it. His confidence is probably boosting right now, and yeah, a lot of games still to go and looking really good for him.
Now, I want to pick your brain a little bit, Martin, at the end of that game, because we got to that towards the end game there. We got towards the end zone. And that volcanic vent, if we want to call it, or Geyser, if obviously you have some sort of
It was
geography
water.
degree
It was
underneath
water,
you. We're-
yeah.
I'm a more simple man. But that really did affect how that end game played out. It was almost like hitting that as late as possible when claiming high ground became a lot of people's strategy there. And it's already interesting to see Season 8 having that impact in this second game.
Yeah, so I mean, some players might think, all right, here's a vent, I'm going to, they plan ahead. Here's a vent, I'm going to use it to rotate to the next zone, but all of them might not really think, hey, this might be dangerous. There's a lot of players around here, and they're just waiting for someone to, all right, just walk up to the vent, try to fly away. But as we
Looked like
saw,
more
that
like
didn't
a
really
conga
work.
up to the vent, to be
Yeah,
honest.
you wanted some conga, right? So,
Yeah.
conga up to the vent and try to make their way out of there. But yeah, it's really risky, as we just saw.
Maybe if you're the last person in, right?
Yeah,
Like, you watch
exactly.
everyone fly off and you're just like, I'm in. Take your time going in there, yeah.
Sorry, can you show that again for us?
Absolutely not.
Okay, but it became a POI. It became a point of interest that people realized, okay, we can build around this. We can use this to our advantage to either bait people in to use it to get eliminations, which we did see. I think that was Razaru on the high ground do, or we can use it to force fights.
Okay, well, what is going to happen now, gentlemen, is we've got to hear from our winner from the last game, picking up the victory royale in our second game. It was Kinstar.
Thank you very much, Mark. Très bien, monsieur. Kinstar is our Game 2 winner. You must be absolutely overjoyed with the victory royale.
Sure.
Perfect. Now, going into that game, obviously the map ended on a new part of the map with Season 8 at the volcano area. Did it impact your game at all, or was everything the same as usual?
The volcano just saved my entire game, so without it, I was dead.
Being here in this environment as well, with this amazing crowd, competing at ESL Katowice Royale, are you enjoying your experience so far? Are you nervous? How do you feel?
I'm very happy and nervous at the same time, so...
Now, I've just heard in my ear as well, apparently, due to that win, you have gone top of the leaderboard with 141 points. Big round of applause from our audience, please. You got Bizzle just behind you, our Game 1 winner. You must be really confident going into the rest of the competition at this point, being on top.
Maybe.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck with the competition. Guys, give it up once more for Kinstar! Woo! Man, a few words, but magnifique ones at that. Guys, let's go out to Mark and the guys. What did you make of game number 2?
Fantastic stuff. Kinstar, man of few words, but a man of many eliminations.
What's his
which,
gameplay do
he's
the
going to be
talking?
happy. Yeah,
But
right?
man of action.
Man of action.
Yeah.
Kind of guy I like.
But that's good, right? To see him perform like that. And again, like this is the second time we've now had an interview where the players didn't seem flustered. It didn't seem like they were like really worn out after that match. It's just like another day at the job.
A lot of these players are used to it, right? So at this point, it's just another Monday for them, right?
But I think we're seeing as well the importance 100% of these eliminations. Like you can see Kinstar will take first place. Bizzle, even though he had that first place finish in round 1, he's still not the king at the moment. And Skype was actually ahead of Bizzle, even though he came in second place. So the Limbs are starting to throw really big spanners in the works here. Airwax has been able to make his way up into top 10 as well, most importantly.
And you can see all of the other players as well, some of the big names. We're looking at Smeeth as well, good performances from him, 12th place. All of these players in the top 20. We know after just a couple of games, very much still in striking distance. We saw last weekend a couple of big bomb games. You drop a big elimination-based game, then you can easily fire your way up those leaderboards and really put yourself in contention of winning.
Yeah, and I want to point out one player that we just saw in the top 20, Smeeth. The thing is, it's not like he came to this event to be playing in duos or solos already. It was Milan, the 16-year-old who just turned 16 that actually took him as his partner to play with, right?
Yeah.
And he's like number 12 in solos. Like he's doing a fantastic job making his own name for himself, and I'm wondering, can that transition into tomorrow?
Don't you find that a lot as well? Like sometimes all eyes will be on one player, and you know there's someone who, like what's happened here. He's picked up a duo partner, and they do outshine in those early games. Yeah. It's like there's no eyes are on them. All the eyes are maybe on their partner, and then all of a sudden they have these big games, and then all of a sudden we're like, hey Smeeth, we've got our eyes on you, buddy. It's like now we're going to start watching you because you're putting in these phenomenal performances. Do you think that maybe that might put a little bit more pressure on the young man?
I mean, it might go both ways, right? If it might be, you know, if it was me, I would be like, all right, this is my proving grounds. It's time for me to prove myself, and that's just what he's doing, and a lot of players are doing as well.
Okay, gentlemen, fantastic stuff. Game number 2 is done and dusted. Kinstar picking up the second victory royale of the day. We're going to go for another break. When we get back, it's game number 3. themselves in the building at the moment. Lots of photos being taken, lots to do here, but the main actions have, of course, been on this main stage. But as I was saying, new people on the desk, smiley faces, two people who have literally been bouncing around in the green room backstage. On the far side, we have, of course, Baller. How are you doing, buddy? You have been balling about backstage. You having the time of your life right now?
Fantastically. I have been bouncing around because these games are so exciting and there's so many good players here. All the games so far have been amazing. We had Bizzle versus Skype. We had that end game on the volcano. Like, I can't believe this.
Baller literally has done this the entire time he's been here. His calves are going to be killing him at the end of this. Stress, obviously, great to have you here. A lot of energy either side of you, but you've been doing your bit as well. You've been bouncing around as well.
I'm bouncing around. I'm hype. I can't wait to be there. This guy is an encyclopedia of knowledge of Fortnite, and every single elimination, he's like, this is such a big story. It's got to be this. We've got to talk about this. So we are ready.
He made him soup once, and it was like, we're like, oh, okay,
we're going
too deep here.
So ready to get
guys.
into another game.
You can't do me like that just because I'm excited for this. Everybody's excited. So.
I'm going to feed off it.
Yes,
that's what we're going to go for.
Please, take my energy.
Bizzle's got enough energy for everyone in the building right now. Let's talk about those first two games then, gentlemen. Obviously, we've had our first two games under the belt now. We've seen the volcano come into play in that end zone as well. What's impressed you the most, Baller?
Just how people are adapting. Everybody's deciding new drop spots. There's a lot of people in these new zones. People are using the vents. We saw Bizzle in that second game kind of stayed next to the vent the entire time and realized that going on top of it is still going to blast you up in the sky. And using that to his advantage, staying on there. I think he got top 10 or something like that in that game, and that's fantastic. These players are adapting to Season 8.
And the other half of it is, from a competitive standpoint, we've seen more eliminations in these first couple of games than we saw in the initial games of the Polish portion of the tournament last week. A little bit faster paced, and you can see nobody is shying away from some of these really high-level engagements.
Well, speaking of high-level engagements, there's one player who we should have a quick look at. 72 Hours caught up with our guys earlier today.
If I had to describe my playstyle, I wouldn't.
Me, buddy, that was phenomenal stuff.
Okay, really, buddy?
Yeah, 100%. It's my kind of guy.
That sarcastic humor is what we love to see from 72 Hours. I can't get enough of it. I'm always watching the stream when I'm at home, just chilling in my box.
Just chilling in my box.
He's talking big. 2 games, there's not been too much clapping.
Not yet. 37th.
We've got 5 more games to go. We'll see whether 72 Hours can actually get himself into the game. Certain players do kind of steady themselves the later we get into a tournament. So perhaps late game, 5, 6, 7, maybe we'll see 72 Hours.
One thing that I highlight for me from that interview as well was the fact he's saying, you know, I play Fortnite, I get straight in the hot tub. Then he's moaning about the fact that his drop spot's been taken by a volcano. Dude, there's hot springs all around that place. That should be perfect for him, right?
He's won it. He was contesting it all during the warm-up games, and he's so far made it out alive, not burned. So we'll see. He's going to continue to try to win that. I think he's contesting one of the Chinese players, actually, and we'll see if that continues to go well for him.
Okay, so looking ahead to our game number 3 before we get the action underway. A couple of players who are lingering down the leaderboard, a little bit miffed, sat in 79th place. I mean, we always talk it up about, you know, these guys and how we expect them to perform, but it is a long format here. We have 7 games to get through. I mentioned it before after game number 2. One big game can put you right back in contention here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about a player like Myth who made a name for himself very early on in Fortnite. Still hasn't had the big tournament win come through it. A couple of blips on the radar early on, but every time we start seeing him getting through these early games, starting to rack up a few eliminations, like I don't think it's quite as dire as it used to be for Myth. I just want to see him put up that big game where you get a bunch of eliminations and get to that late game. Unfortunately, hasn't really happened in the first 2 so far, although he did shake off the nerves with the first engagement in game 1.
Yeah, taking out Kripa in the first game. That was a big name. I was looking at that fight backstage, and I was like, oh my goodness, Myth, you just took out Kripa. One of the people that I was expecting to do really well going here into solos just because of his Winter Royale performance. But then things switched up for him in game 2. I think it was Mies, one of the French players, and Kripa as well, kind of pinching him in Lonely Lodge. So we'll see if he's going to be able to recover and kind of come up with a new game plan going into next game.
I'm glad we're talking a little bit about the French players because the international flair here, some of the largest number of nationalities facing off against each other, and the French competitive community has shown up. We've seen some big results from Keenstar. Airwax is on the top 10 as well.
Here we go, gentlemen. I mean, you can see game 3 is underway. Baller, I cut you off for just a second there, but this is because it's all you from here, buddy. Stress of Baller, round number 3 underway. Take it away.
So, here we go, dropping into round number 3. Everybody's thanked the driver, and we are riding on with Liquid Poach, dropping in for game 3 of the ESL Katowice Royale. He's heading for that east side of the volcano for now.
He's been dropping towards that sunny steps, trying to win that drop, trying to make it so nobody wants to contest him anymore, but also grabbing those early elims. It's one of the best spots out of Season 8 that's come in this northeast side.
A lot of us on the broadcast team, we've been kind of dropping as many different of the new locations as we can, figure out exactly where some of those high-value pockets of chests spawn, and certainly over the steps there are some areas that are better than others, but all around the map we're going to take a look at some of our high-ticket players that we're keeping a track of. Llama is here in retail. This has maybe been a little bit less of a contested area than we've seen in previous patches.
Yeah, going up against Tixi, this is one of the strongest solo squad players we've seen. He's broken many records, and Crazy Llama, actually a Japanese player, coming all the way over from Japan. We'll see what he can put out for us in terms of performance. So many international flavors here. It's so fantastic to see Crazy Llama right now really trying to find a good position. He does have the AR and the pump, so he's going to be able to have a good loadout going to get up against Tixi.
Yeah, and Tixi and Llama, they're pretty far apart at this point. If Llama can peek out, maybe get 1 or 2 shots, does Tixi know exactly where he is? He's going to build up, run right into him, takes that first tack shot, connects for the shield. Tixi drops very low from that as Llama drops off the back, only 29 health.
That's a great start there from Llama. I was going to talk about the positioning he had on top of that. He could easily track Tixi, but Tixi actually just took it straight through him on top of that blacktop. And now he's on the back foot. He's going to heal up. Llama's not really pressuring, so he can get those heals off pretty safely there.
So this is right on the safe zone edge through retail. At this point, I'm pretty sure we just saw Tixi drop off to the left side, look to disengage. This is something we saw quite a lot in the Polish tournament area. Aspect now taking on Issa in the bottom floor of this now Pirate House. As Aspect drops to 1 health, survives. Whoa!
4 builds left. You can still survive a little bit. He does have those bandages, so he's going to be able to try to pop them, but Issa also popping his minis as well. I don't know, Aspect is so close here.
Oh, peeks through the door, does get the rotation on that ramp piece, and look, Issa's going to try and go up to that first floor. Now up to the second, going to try and drop through the top here. I did see Dynamite in the inventory of Aspect, so it does have to be careful that that doesn't just get planted beneath him, but Aspect is just trying to bandage up.
Yeah, and the edits were so good to get out of there. He does have, holding that edit, making sure Issa's not going to push down, but got to be careful of all the windows around.
Importantly, in the action feed, Aiden just fell, now trying to go the hard way through the floor, trying to replace as much so that Issa can own this entire building, trying to just find any angle. There's that Dynamite we were talking about.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that for Aspect. He doesn't want to blow open any more holes for Issa to be able to find him again. Doesn't get the pump.
Connects with that first shot as Issa now, a lot of his health has been evened up, trying to find moments just to get those mini shield potions.
He's really opening it up here for him to find Issa, and he's out of mats now, so there's 9 builds left for Aspect, and he's kind of gotten back into his fight. He's clawed his way back in here, Stress.
clawed his way back in, but he still needs to be able to find the angle. Aspect trying to bandage up around the corner. Oh, Issa looks for the shot, doesn't quite get it, as Aspect does end up falling in the end. A long fight around this house, but Issa comes out alive.
That fight was so important for Aspect to win. He actually has 0 points right now, all the way towards the end of the standings, and he really needs to get a confidence boost going into the next games, because 0 points at this point in the tournament, you really needed a big game, or just start being consistent right here. This is make or break, and really, Aspect, that's rough for him there.
I'm glad we just took a look at Tilted, because Aiden had actually fallen earlier in this game to one of the X2 twins. We saw it in the action feed in the bottom left of your screen. This is Svenos against Airwax, two of Europe's most notable players we're seeing go head-to-head. Airwax currently hovering around about that 10th place spot in the standings, and unfortunately, on the low ground against Svenos, I feel like he's going to back away.
Yeah, one of the things here at the block, there are 3 players there. Actually, we're going to hop in with Nikoff and Vilex. Over towards retail row again.
Dynamite is ticking on that fuse for now. Vilex gets kind of boxed in on the top, but now trying to look for any kind of way through onto Nikov, another one of the Solary players that we spoke about, that French-speaking community minigun we saw rampant last week in the Polish tournament. A little bit of use here from Vilex, but he can't quite get down to the bottom floor here.
Trying to get in the box as many as possible. He's going to try to take that roof piece. A little bit of time for Nikov to breathe here. We'll see how many materials he has. I did see a few elims, so he should have a few, but there's the edit. Almost gets it. Oh, he gets down the box!
In with the shotgun, and that is Svenos taking out Airwax in the kill feed. It was Nikov, ended up getting it. A lot of pressure put onto Nikov from the side.
Crazy Llama, the Japanese player we saw stalking somebody else in retail row earlier, and he's coming in with the grenade launcher, gets 1 tag, 100 damage onto Nikov. He's going to be able to heal up with the minis though, but still, Crazy Llama, here he comes.
Yeah, trying to get through that top floor, tries to get the edit, doesn't quite get it in the way he wants to. Trying to find any different position for this fight, and you can see the vultures circling on the top side of the minimap just before we swapped to this wide angle on the fight. Crazy Llama is in such a good position health-wise, but
I think that was his last grenade. There's no more materials here for Nikov.
Window comes out, and look, Crazy Llama trying to readjust with these ramp pieces, but he's taking shots from behind as well. Crazy Llama switches around and ends up losing the engage to Nikov.
Nikov is on a tear here in retail row. That's 2 in a row we saw, and I think he already had an Ilium before that, but hopefully he picks up some materials there from Crazy Llama, because the third party is coming in. But here we go, Mitro against Zate. This is such an important battle for Loot Lake.
Yeah, Mitro, a name that we caught a glimpse of earlier, but didn't really see anything in Game 2 from. One of those names that people expect a lot from. He's got moves named after him.
Yeah.
He does his 90s in a specific way. People say Mitro is one of those players to watch out for, but 0 eliminations on the board for now.
Yeah, one of the most winningest players in EU. We actually see Beehive is also setting up nearby. I think Zate decides he wants to back off from Mitro. Zate is up ahead in the standings for Mitro. I think Mitro is in around 68th position. Zate around 30-something.
Tixi now taking on Poverty. Poverty, a player in the Polish portion of the tournament that didn't really live up to a lot of the expectations that people had put on him. Ended really quite low down, especially, if I remember rightly, on the solos portion. But in Tixi trying to just get any kind of sight he can. But there's a third party, as that was Zeke taking out Tixi from the side.
Those are Polish duo. One thing I like there about what Tixi was doing, he edited his stairs and stayed on the stairs so he could look down through the wood and try to spot where that player was. Poverty. So here we go. One of the other Korean players, Envy. I think he's in a fight here. Just actually turtling up a little bit. He's in the center zone, so this is what we talk about always, is try to get center zone the first, the second, the third, the fourth, because it's going to give you the biggest chance of getting that next zone.
And this is always going to be one of those questions when you look at South Korean players, typically in esports, are the pinnacle.
Yeah.
But so far, we haven't seen it. We're only 2 games in, right? There are only a few South Korean players here. It's not quite in the same way that other esports have seen dominance, and I think that makes for a very intriguing prospect the further we go through this tournament. And we do have a new zone shown up.
Yeah, and it's not going to be towards that northeast. It's actually going to go towards Tilted, towards the center of the map. And here, another one of the Korean players, Fax Fox, going up against Max Alibert. And he's going to rift out. That was a good decision here. Try to get more center zone, like I always talk about, just like we did say. He's going to rift over. See if Max Alibert decides to chase here, though. And look at that loadout. Not very strong for Fox.
I think this is a great time for us to talk about the mobility changes that Season 8 has brought on. We've got a lot of people up towards that northeast area. Obviously, the Stormwing was vaulted for Season 8. We also have had a removal of a lot of rifts that not a lot of people have found out until they played a bunch of games. So some of that mobility not so prevalent to get to the later zones.
Yeah. Not so prevalent indeed. The Stormwing gone and the Rifts gone. But in the northeast area, we actually have those vents, those volcanic vents, and we have cannons all around the map, which you can launch yourself all the way across. I think you can go up to 260 meters. I think that was Zacubus who said that earlier. What a nice little addition there. Those cannons, you can see one right on your screen there.
I think one of the things about them are way less controlled than the Stormwing, where you just get in the Stormwing. Yeah, exactly. You've got to make sure that you know exactly where you're aiming. Unfortunately, Tajovsky in Game 1, if you've seen the clip, off the edge of the map he went. And at this point in the game, luckily, no risk of that happening. We've got this three-tiered fight going on between Shinken and Sinnoh.
And Shinken, one of the biggest upstarts in EU recently, especially through the pop-up cups and the scrim scene. He's been winning a lot, and with his teammate Stompy, we'll see what they can do together in the duos. But for now, Shinken is actually rising in the standings. In the last game, he didn't play so well in the first game, but now I think he's up top 50 at least. So we'll see. This is actually a spot that we've seen so many players just kind of turtle up on. It used to be that this broken house here was one where all the engagements were happening and there was nothing really to turtle up on because there's so many cracks in the wall. But here's a replay here. Bowman onto Kinzel, just opening that window. I think he was stuck in the football net, as you would say there.
Yeah, stuck in the net, but got a lot more than just net at that point. As Nikov, we saw some of his engagements to start off. This was the drop in that Nikov ended up picking up that elimination from, as a second challenger approached for the rest of that package. And this is this moment of the game where everybody's trying to get into this zone. There's a lot of distance to cover. And as we said, mobility highly reduced. So this is a kind of moment where you look at the players like Maxcalibur, there's not a whole lot of fighting actually going on within this building.
Yeah, and actually Demo, speaking of not a lot of fighting, he's where he drops. This is where he stayed, and he just stayed the entire time. You can see him boxing up in the metal. That's what you're going to be able to get from Divot, or at least the diner or the factory as it's called as well. Trying to drop down Fa here, one of the Brazilian players.
Yeah, trying to just pyramid his way to safety and stay alive inside the building from here. You can see Zexro on the top of your screen. Had a good performance in the last game. Actually placed second, lost out to Keenstar in that 1v1 for the Victory Royale. And Keenstar is currently top of the standing, so that's how important that 1v1 can be, plus those eliminations from the game. But certainly Zexro having a good performance.
Indeed. There you can hear another Rift to Go going off. Everybody's vying for positioning now. There's 70 players still remaining. They're all kind of boxing up and deciding, hey, how do I want to approach this endgame? Actually taking a shot.
That's ambitious.
Yeah, just a little bit ambitious. He doesn't hit anything there, just the top of the pyramid.
Testing the wind at this point.
Imagine if you could just curve your bullets like that. We'd have some crazy plays with that.
I'm kind of glad you can't, I'll be honest. There's enough craziness that goes on, and we definitely see that towards the end game. But build up as Selzma kind of doesn't quite find the build to start, but has found that position on the side of the cliff.
Yeah, one of the things, though, that zone just ended up closing, so the new zone isn't going to be where... Oh, no, the launch pad, unfortunately, he didn't think about and look up. That's one of the things always...
Everyone's done this.
Yeah, everyone has. You don't really think about it when you're kind of under in the open of Dusty Divot.
Is he setting a trap for somebody else to use the launch pad and then hit the roof, bounce back, and try and pick up an elimination?
It's possible. There's 72 hours. You can actually see him in the outside the zone. He just used one of those vents. He's going to rotate in the zone. And Lil J onto Kaiser and Jamside. Jamside is doing really well in the standings as well.
Yeah, doing very well. We saw Little J make it to one of the later storms in the first two games. One of the Chinese players represented here at the ESL Katowice Royale.
I think he needs to take a page here out of 72 Hours' book and go into that zone. It's still only 2 tick. Go into that zone, grab the vent, and rotate in because he doesn't want to use those launch pad. That mobility is such a good resource.
Yeah, especially for later in the game, right? When you start getting those moving zones come through. There's Cripper we saw losing out to Myth in game number 1, but has made his way pretty deep in this third game of the day. History, one of the Brazilian players represented here.
Kripa, one of the strongest players that impressed me from Winter Royale. He has been on a tear as well. So he's one of the, like Shinken and Boyer and his duo, doing with Boyer. He's been doing so well in pop-up cups, so well in scrims. Everybody's excited to see what they can show for us here. But actually, Zizma's in a box there with History. He's got to be careful. History's going to back out.
Yeah, Zizma trying to...
There, he's got the wall.
And he has got the window, but it just doesn't reset. He's trying to reset it just to try and get that angle on the fight. Oh, the block. Who actually has this? Is it still History? Has the edit on this, but is forced back behind the ramp because every time he switches, there's another shot.
Yeah, this is exactly what we actually do within the pro scene to practice box fights. They literally just get in a box next to each other. But now, finally, I think that's Demo up top says, "Hey guys, you guys, I want to join in the fun too." So he puts an end to that. And they're gonna relax a little bit. You see History holding the stairs there because he can see through and see what Zizma is going to do.
They're going to have to move, though, as this storm...
And that's a huge problem for Zizma because he wasted that launch pad. So now he has nothing. All he has to do is break through the roof of that, but that's going to take forever, so he's going to be on foot.
Big European name at the bottom left of your screen, Camo. Did set a world record for solo versus squads, one of the things that people like to track. Yeah. A great player in his own mind. I'm excited to see him playing up against some of the world's best as well as History. He's gatekeeping this storm. Doesn't quite connect with the first one, but that is a lot of shots that connect in the end. Is trying to hunt down this elimination for himself, and he does.
Teammate on teammate again. And that's interesting there. Brazilian players. He's going to actually have a redeploy, so he's going to catch up to the zone.
Ooh, grenades raining down onto Svenos.
Yeah, that's Lil J again. Really harassing with that grenade launcher. A lot of players would kind of opt to save that ammo for a little bit later because we're only going to the fourth zone here.
Some big European names in this area. Svenos, Skype. Vivid is over to the left side of your screen. There's 72 hours from America over there as well.
And Animal as well. So
there's someone big from everywhere.
It's so stacked. Literally everywhere I look, I see a player that I need to point out. And now, going into that fourth zone, we got 50 seconds till it moves. Lolito actually maybe looking to get a little bit of aggressive onto Svenos. For now. It's going to be calm. They don't have too far to go for this zone, so it's not probably going to go to an engagement unless they decide, hey, I actually need some elims. Ooh! Lolito maybe had the idea to go into zone to get Svenos there, but no.
Yeah, didn't end up committing to it, although Lolito did end up falling. Was that to Skyte? It looked like that was the engage there.
Yeah, Skyte's rushing over there. I think he might have some loot there, so he could have gotten him. So that's nice for Skyte. He's one of our top players. He dropped to 6th place in the last game, but he's playing so consistently. And that's what you need to do in this tournament. So, again, fourth zone closing. Everybody's making their way in. There's still a lot of players outside of zone.
And with such a stacked field, you look at the fact that Skyte doing well has been a winner in the past. Bizzle doing well, he's won as well. Yeah. As Skyte, we are watching on with him.
What a nice there by Skyte. He actually edges his way in zone, so that's going to close, and he's going to stay in it. And he used that medal that he picked up from that player on the side there.
Poverty trying to follow Rizard up the mountain. If you can get any kind of sight, that's one shot for that elimination. Saf is up here as well. Saf is going to try and get that easy elimination off the side.
Got to be careful, though.
Poverty's here as well.
Saf just jumped off his high ground. That might be, well, the zone is still moving, so that makes sense. He's actually going to leave from Rizard.
Yeah, hopefully, in his mind, if Rizard ends up going in front of him, that'll be an easy pickoff. But Saf... Ooh.
He knows.
Yeah, Saf knows. He's putting it up behind him to make sure he's covered.
Great awareness there. Saf definitely trying to get one of those big performances because he definitely didn't have enough points to go into the next game. I think he had 0. There's Kinstar.
Yeah, that's our points leader. Yeah. Still alive in this game. Still safe, trying to get points.
Man, that's consistency. Look at Skype. Look at Kinstar. Look at all these big players.
72 hours. They're going to have to move soon. Everybody's got to go when this zone changes.
Half in, half out zone coming right now. There it is.
Seen the storm surge warning as well.
Bottom right of Loot Lake here. Everybody's a little bit nervous when it comes to Loot Lake, but I think people are very comfortable now as we get the mats on Elim. It's harder to move there.
Harder to move, and we'll see who ends up being the first to move. Saf did just get an elimination for himself.
Yeah, one point I want to talk about this zone is it's going to go over towards that little bit of slight incline, so people might decide to go a little bit late here if they have launch pads.
Cloud.
Nate Hill as well, onto Demo, onto Saf. Everybody's trying to hold these players out of zone, try to get as many tags as they can.
So difficult once those miniguns spin up the direction to hear where everything's coming from. There's just so much obstruction on that noise coming through. As now we're on with Mitro. Mitro, no eliminations, but has an RPG. We'll see whether Mitro can find an angle, trying to just get away through.
Sneaking his way, trying to get that rocket launcher into there while everybody's shooting. But here's the rush towards the zone. Everybody's going to decide, hey, I want to use all the mobility that I can from others. You see Nate fighting Demo on the side as well. He just took him out, I believe.
Keenstar manages just to jump onto that launch pad as Nate doesn't quite manage to get there in time. Nikov running and tracking through the bottom of this. Now everybody lands on one.
So this is what I was talking about, Zeke landing towards that hill here. Imagine also doing the same thing. A lot of players deciding to land inside over towards that hill, because if it does go that way, you're just going to be able to build up so easily. Here, Animal on high ground. He's taking shots at players flying in.
He's just trying to get anything. Hit some shields, gets anything he can. Importantly, I believe Jesse from the X2 Twins was still alive, and Jordan I just saw as well. So this time they are lasting a little bit later. We're into the points now on placements. There's 42 players remain. We crossed that 50-player barrier. That now means everybody will at least have scored points.
Jam side taking out Boyer in the Elim feed there. Nice. And we'll see Jam side, one of our top players as well. There's so many of these consistent players up still. Shinken, Vinny, Zate, Jesse, Australia showing up strong in this game.
You said Vinny, he's a player that recently having a surge, and in this tournament so far has performed very well as well. So we saw him just last week, or just this week, signing to TSM. So it's just such a big, massive names right now in this final set of zones.
Skyte's still up as well there. You can see him taking some shots. And there, all the clinger spam, everybody's just trying to get any shots they can on people. They never know how low players are going to be, so it's always valuable to take shots. Obviously, you're opening yourself up to a little bit of a risk when you do it, and it is going to go north into zone, but hold on.
Jordan just picked off Camo in that action feed. Vivid trying to track across the top of this one, and here they go. As the storm moves, so does everybody with it, and this is where so many eliminations start happening, and they are so key. As Animal picks up one for himself, Zeke is able to get away from that tricky situation, stuck on 3 eliminations for himself, and now we're in tight corners.
Animal, one of the best endgame players at this pathing, exactly what you see him doing right now, but Razru again on high ground, he's taking it, and I think he has it. So, Mitro up, Vinny up.
Jules trying to track up. Let's see that he doesn't go too high and die to fall damage like he did in game number 2. Poverty trying to track up as well against Razru. Poverty actually has stolen the high ground away, but on the low ground is where most of the action is. Jesse trying to make his way. Hupek on such low health, and we can see Funk Bomb right at the bottom. Poverty drops down, takes a massive shotgun shell from Razru. Poverty's gonna drop. That's it. Poverty's out from that high engage, and Razru is the only player stuck at the top of the screen.
This was the issue last time for Razru. He had high ground, but he got it stolen from him, and this time he didn't. He keeps to hold it.
26 builds left, so he has enough to stay in the zone for now, but he's going to need some of them from further eliminations. 0 eliminations in this game, and opting mainly for placement points as we continue. 15 builds as he puts a new ceiling on the house.
72 Hours just got 2 elims in the zone. He's so close. I think he just got another one down on low ground as well.
He's in the storm, though, ends up falling to it as Mitro tries to get the high ground. Massive damage comes through as Mitro checks above him just to make sure there's no rifts. Nobody circling the skies.
Yeah, 7 players left. Mitro on high ground. This is exactly where he sells. He has the RPG, but he's no ammo. So we'll see what he's able to do from high ground. Animal's still up as well. Nikov. So many big names in this endgame. Here's Animal. He goes down to Vato.
Vato, really big pickoff from the low ground there.
Oh, actually, somebody took high ground. Who is that? Mitro. No, it's still Mitro. I forgot about him up on high. How could I forget about Mitro? 6 players left.
That's when you end up eliminated by Mitro. It's when you forget about him and he's in a building with a trap. But at this point, Mitro still has that high ground. Jules is up there with him. If Mitro can win this exchange, that puts him in such a good position. But low ammo, 9 shells left.
All he has is shotgun shells and builds. That's all he can do. But it's actually going to go over old builds, so he's going to be able to drop down pretty safely and conserve a lot of materials. But that rift is up in the sky. We got to see. Okay, nobody diving on him. That's a sigh of relief for him.
Sigh of relief, but it also means he's going to have to build back down. Majin has had a great game so far. I've seen his name constantly in the action feed. Those eliminations have been ticking up.
Stuck in zone, though. That's going to be it for him. He goes down the zone. 5 players left. Okay, now 3. 2 elims at the same time.
That's how quick this goes in these late games. When you just get any kind of sight on an opponent, you can get that pick-off, get that elimination.
All these old builds, so important for Mitro. He's low on materials. He's just using these. It's going all over, but now it's going to be the end. And you can see Jules trapping down. If Mitro dropped on him, that would have been really nice.
Just hiding a trap anywhere at this point if you can end up dropping them through.
This is an issue here for Mitro. He does not have the materials to fight Jules here. He needs to possibly keep away. Fat Toe has the advantage, I think, going all the way down to low ground, but Jules actually dropping down. He decides, yes, I want to do this. So Mitro actually back to the advantage.
Ooh, Mitro gonna have to build his way down the stairs as Vato does end up losing to Jules. It's a 1 versus 1. Mitro is nearly on the low ground, but now the shotgun maybe comes into effect. He really only needs one shot to connect to pick up this game for himself, and with the high ground, he's just trying to find any kind of position that he can.
It's only a green though, and that shot was so close from Jules. 80 there.
Oh, Jules takes it. Jules steals away the game from Mitro with 6 eliminations to his name and the victory royale.
That is such a strong performance. One of the, I think it was mostly EU only in that end game there, and Jules, he was in the end game in the second game, and then he fell to fall damage, but no, this time he decides, hey, I want to go down. I remember last game, and cleans it up. What a strong performance there.
Really strong performance. It looked like Mitro had it, but as you said, it's all about that equipment. The inventory didn't have the ammo to take a long-spaced fight, leaves it to a shotgun duel, and Jules gets it.
I mean, we were talking about the French community turning up. Another win under the belt for them now, and I mean, Jules, 6 eliminations to go alongside it as well. Mitro, he had so many decisions to make towards the end of that game. He thought he's got the high ground, but I think in the end it was kind of, he was stuck between, you know, I don't have any weaponry of distance where I can pop any shots down to get the eliminations on the board. So he's forced to take that 1v1 at the end. It didn't work out for him, but Jules, we need to give him all the credit in the world. These French guys, they like Poland at the moment, right?
Les Français sont arrivés. The French have arrived.
Solar say absolutely. No idea what you said.
All these players from Solary and the rest of the community as well. Jules, this is the second time. We saw Mies pop off as well. Skite was in that endgame as well. I think these standings, when we get to see them, they're going to be a lot of French flags going up in there. And that's exciting for them. I'm super hyped.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the French guys are turning up. Sky, again, another player I think we really need to keep a focus on now that we're going into game number 4. And obviously, we've got 7 rounds to go here because he has been in that end game every single time pretty much that we've seen him so far.
And that's one thing from the Polish portion of this tournament that had the same point structure. The consistency is what will put players at the top, especially when it's picking up a few eliminations and high placement. We're seeing some massive eliminations compared to last week.
One of the things I always talk about in these types of tournaments is maximizing every single game's points potential. So go for those elims, go for the high placement. You got to get the win, and you got to get as many elims as possible while doing it.
Okay, well, gentlemen, fantastic job as always. Now we're going to go down to the floor with Adam. He is with our winner of game number 3. It is, of course, Jules.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks, lads. I'm joined here by Jules. What an incredible display. GG, my friends. Walk us through the game. How did it feel for you?
I was pretty lucky. I rotated to Fatal, and I had a Rift vending machine for wood, so I bought 2, and I had like 1 pad, and I was really lucky for that.
So when you get to the end game, do you choose to play aggressively, or do you kind of hold back? Because there's lots of different ways you can earn points.
I try to temporize the more time that I can with the Rift, and I play aggressive for the end, yeah.
And lastly, what is it like playing with the creme de la creme, like the best players in the world? Is it a fun experience? Is it nerve-wracking? How do you feel?
I feel really good right now, yeah.
Well, we are very lucky to have you here. Congratulations. Our Game 3 winner is Jules. Big round of applause, please. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Okay. Au revoir. That was brilliant. Let me know what you guys of the desk thought as well. Mark, Game 3. What an absolute doozy that was. Brilliant.
Thank you very much, Adam. Always good to hear from these guys. I won't do my French because I've learned all my French from Only Fools and Horses, and basically it means
I'd have to excuse your French.
So yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously hearing from him there, saying that he was feeling good after his drop there.
Yeah. Adam said, Adam said, oh, wow, let's see you later. And I think he's going to definitely be back up on that stage, judging by the performances so far in game 2 and 3.
Really, though, the discussion on mobility puts a big ticket, and you can see as the standings come up how some of the players over the last few games have actually performed. Jules taking that second spot on it, and that mobility helped him do it. The Rifts nobody else has the planes, any of the mobility tools anymore, so flies up the standings.
Yeah, and you can see, you know, Kinstar still holding down that #1 spot at the moment. He certainly is the player to watch at this point after, you know, that win coming in from Jules. But you can see how tight it really is between that top 10 at the moment after 3 games as well. Nobody really separating themselves too much at the moment. We talk about staying in striking distance. I feel like with this particular format, if you can stay within striking distance when there's 3 games or so to go, you still have a chance of taking home that top spot. And that's, like you're saying, maximize your points in these first few games.
Yeah, one of the things in this format, there's a lot of volatility at the top. We'll see pretty much always a little bit of a shake-up. But it's going to be that consistency and then being in striking distance, like you said, because the last game, that's what we saw in the Polish event. It was always coming down to that last game to decide the winner. And yeah, actually one player that I wanted to touch on real quick in terms of eliminations is Vinny. He's getting up there. He's not really getting the huge placements. He is getting in the end game, but he's getting so many elims.
He redeemed himself from the fall damage in game 2, wins the game 3, puts himself in 2nd place.
Well, game 3 is done and dusted. It's time for round number 4. Gentlemen, it's over to you. Take it away.
Loading in round 4, dropping on with Skite, who we know is one of the top European players, and he's been doing pretty well for this tournament so far. Lofar, is there anybody that you think we haven't featured or that you want to see more from in this game as we reach that halfway-ish point of the tournament?
I would say Aspect, but he's not doing well so far, man. Him and Animal are doing well in scrims, always like doing well in tournaments and so far. But in solos, man, he's dead last right now. So I hope he will pick it up and get some early game kills and, you know, just get up a starting position. But here at Happy Helmet, we have a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people. There's aim hero there from Korea. Now this is Vilex and Fa. Trying to trade over this house. You mentioned Aspect. I'm always keeping my eyes to see if he comes up in the action feed because he lost every single one of his first fights in the first 3 games. And that kind of thing is not what we were expecting. We weren't really expecting Aspect to be on such a back foot in the tournament early on. Slow pace start for Vilex and Fa.
You will be also able to say who has a good mindset later in the stages. But let's focus on this fight. It's starting a little bit slow. No one has any mats. Probably also very low on equipment. Maybe no shotguns as well.
Dual pistols now for Vilex as he's trying to get through that floor. Dropping into the trap. It's going to get him. Far ends up falling. Vilex picks up the elimination.
That is so much value right now. First elimination. Early in the game, 150 mats, right? You get that right off the bat and 50 HP. That puts him in a fantastic spot so you can rotate earlier because if you gain 150 mats just by getting a kill, but let's focus on the Stompy and who is that?
Another trap goes down. I didn't quite see. It may very well have been Keolis. Who's trying to just get his way through that trap. We're back over into the polar area as Stompy and Keolis. This is the wide angle on the fight. We were just seeing, wow, Keolis just takes him out with that one shot, one elimination off that heavy shotgun.
Everyone is so aggressive in the early game. I love it.
I love it too. This is great for the early game. I love that we get a little bit of pace here as he's trying to find Bowman. Bowman drops down, tries to get it, but swaps out to the pistol. Doesn't get it, but look at the damage traded back as Issa picks up Bowman. A really important elimination again.
What a follow-up with the Grey Pistol as well. People underestimate the Grey Pistol.
Oh, Kinzel, we'll see whether he underestimates Excalibur as he's trying to get any kind of position that he can. Kinzel has the high ground for now, but 14 health, has the first aid kit, but you bet there is no way he's being given the time to channel that.
I wouldn't be surprised if Excalibur would just like to drop him down by destroying this entire build. He knows that he nailed 104 damage from the shotgun.
He actually got the time to first aid kit.
Oh,
he actually got the first aid kit off. That turns this fight. And look, Kinzel knows already. He says, okay, I'm coming for you because there's no way you can be as healthy as me anymore. Excalibur trying to get his way out. Peeks through the pyramid.
That's a good position to just, you know, launch in any different direction right now. He has the floor underneath him. So just one edit and he's out of there.
Oh, Kinzel trying to go in through the low ground. Risky strategy at times, but he'll have seen the edit play come through now. Trying to just clip through, does get it.
He got the white damage. He knows he has no shields at all.
Drops in. What a beautiful elimination from Kinzel. Drops over the high ground, able to pick him up. We're now on with X2 Jordan, all the way from Oceania, all the way looking for his first elimination of the game. Good replace on that roof. At least to deny from that 4 health, stays alive. This fight has turned. He has got to find this next shot. Desperately trying to peek. Pistols are out, but there was a trap in there. And X2 Jordan gets baited.
How did he not see that trap? Maybe he didn't remember it. Maybe that's the, you know, the nerves are talking like, you're on the LAN. It's a big tournament.
Kinzel just falls to Ares. Ares just comes in and says, okay, you won the last fight, but Ares just picks up this elimination, no sweat.
I'm very happy for Eric, by the way. He wasn't doing well in this tournament so far. He had 0 points going into this game right now. So by getting that elimination early in the game, he's, well, I hope he will do well better.
So this zone covers a lot of the points of interest that were added in Season 8. We've got the Volcano, we got Lazy Lagoon, but we are jumping up to a fight between Ekov and Tixi. There is a third player here as well. That Stink Grenade is going to pick up the elimination for Fwexy. He was the one that was waiting around the side, and now Tixi going to just drop out the back.
200 HP for both of them. They seem to be reluctant to pick up the fight. Good decision. That's actually, when it comes to solos, it's so important to know when you have to back out.
Yeah, Poach taking on Madsen right now, and Poach is currently set at 69th in the scoreboard, so this would be a big elimination and a good start to Game 4 for him. One of North America's players that everybody was expecting a lot from coming into this tournament. Everyone was saying, Poach, we're going to see so much. First 3 games being a little bit slow. I want to see him try and maybe score a few more points in these last 4.
Well, you know, statistically speaking, you have 100 great players. Some of them will do badly.
Absolutely, and we'll hopefully see if Poach can settle himself. Kuna takes a big shot off. It's actually not as big as I thought. First of all, only 33 damage comes through.
Oh, they're getting knocked down by someone else. Those clingers, where did they appear from?
I think Kuna threw them down because he was actually trying to get an elimination for himself as they were falling to the ground.
Important thing to notice, he has a disco bomb in his equipment right now. That can be a game changer when you don't expect it and you're getting hit.
I heard a couple go off in the late game, in the last game, where he does that disco grenade, comes out and everything kind of changes the complexion for a few seconds. And he's looking for Saf. Saf, again, another player that everybody was talking a lot about, but hovering at the bottom of the standings so far. Will run for safety for now, though. Doesn't take an engage.
We're going back to Poach.
Yeah, Poach and Madsen. Right now, as the zone is closing in, they do have a decent way to go. So this basically is a fight to see who lives to see the next storm. Poach trying to find his way outside that edit. Poach just takes so much damage off that first shot. Dire situation, and he is finished off by Madsen, as Madsen will put Poach out of round 4.
Not looking good for Poach, man, I have to admit. Early game death for him means that he will be still in that bottom 50 in the standings.
Yeah, you don't get placement points until that 50th spot in the game. This is Boya, Nirvana, and Kamo fighting just on the southern border of Tilted.
6 clingers at his disposal and the heavy sniper as well. It's a great combination to use together.
Oof, Nirvana just got caught in the stink grenade as well, and Kamo's going to try and pick up the pieces, trying to fire through the floor, trying to get anything he can against Nirvana, but couldn't quite get through. The metal is starting to build now, so Nirvana will be safe for a moment as he tries to get his way back up that ramp.
Interesting circle, by the way, you can see in the picture. It's very centralized, so a lot of possibilities when it comes to movement. You will have access to cannons, you'll have access to vents as well.
Looks like a lot of the north side of the zone is actually in the new lagoon area, so a lot of over water fighting to be had if it continues to move north.
Not sure if you noticed, but Kama has an absolute piece of an inventory. Look at this.
Yeah, it's great, right? You got double legendary items plus the AR. I feel like the only thing he's missing is if he could stumble onto a vending machine that has a rift to go or a launch pad, he'd be like, oh, great, everything's good for the late game.
I mean, this meta is currently revolving around this mobility item late game, so having launch pads and rift to go is super important. But here we have Glaxu from this stream.
Yeah, Cloud getting stink grenaded out as Black's trying to get any kind of position on this fight. Cloud is getting run around through the low ground. No angle yet for Black's to actually get an elimination. Cloud's going to try and build up for a moment there, trying to just change direction as quickly as possible.
He was controlling the fight very well, but he backed out at some point. He's worried about the third parties that can just shoot him down from the... not shoot him down, but just shoot it from different angles and just lose health for no really big reason. He can still be passive. He is inside of circle, if I'm not mistaken. So it's all good.
And this is where those passive moments come through. We were talking about placement points. Right now, unless you really have to move, there's no point in taking a fight. And that's what a lot of players will play towards. You can see how congested this area is around Dusty. As Demo, this is such a commonplace for him. We've seen this at least 2 games out of the ones that we've had. Demo just sat top of Dusty. He's just going to peek out the window. He knows he's safe because no one's going to pressure him from here. No one's going to try and take the fight and look for an elimination.
That's a great position to be in since you have natural high ground from the east. And he's above, 1 damage below the Storm Surge. Remember, the Storm Surge mechanic deals lethal damage if you're not getting above it. And there's, no possibility of just getting out of it unless you get that hit. So having stink grenades is a fantastic thing to play against Storm Surge.
At this point, we're going to see Demo start taking long-range shotgun shots just to get above that threshold. Any damage.
Someone rifting. Oh, get that
just
guy.
Fire at the sky at anything.
One hit.
We did just see a rift come through as players are starting to move towards this zone. It is Storm 2 going into Storm 3. Starting to see a little bit of congestion around the edges of the lake, but nothing too much to write home about for now. Aim Hero. Gonna see if he is the anti-hero for DMO's fans. As Aim Hero, we've heard a lot of talk about this player from South Korea. Now DMO is the one taking the fight to him. Aim Hero needs to be prepared. He has invaded DMO's territory, and now he's gonna have to fight. He's wielding that silenced assault rifle for now, and DMO does back away, at least for now.
Well, he would have to, assert dominance. And when he did that, he's just going back to his spot. I mean,
now he's doing it on Flexi. The same thing.
It is important because those people will just be passive against him. But he's going for the fight.
He edits and actually didn't get punished too hard now, as only 30 health dropped from him. DMO says, okay, maybe I don't need to take this.
Remember, he was below the threshold. This is why he got so aggressive.
Exactly, like looking for any damage he could, but as the players have dropped as well, so has that Storm Surge, and a lot of people now in DMO's territory. We got BloodX, one of the big European players, Bizzle here, who we saw win a game earlier today. Massive name that we're expecting a lot from, and he has already performed quite well. DMO just ended up falling to Flexi.
He was just erased.
Instantly, one shot, another elimination as Flexi takes out DMO, and DMO was playing so confidently on top of Dusty.
I mean, he had a lot of HP. He had a purple shotty as well.
And I'm pretty sure that's out of the elimination rounds here, as we will continue to track this as 72 hours. Is one of the players we were looking coming into this was sat in the top 20. Now will try and get himself into a position and look for more fights. 62 players remain in this game, so that was DMO falling out before the elimination threshold. 72 hours to hit his own ramp with that clinger. Careful, 72. You gotta make sure you don't take yourself out with those clingers. As we continue with Smeeth. Not so bad on the inventory himself. Again, mobility is lacking. It's something we're come to expect from Season 8.
What are you talking? He has a turret.
the static mobility.
it has a seat, you know? So.
Exactly. But good to use as a floor piece if ever you want to
Love
keep
it, man.
yourself alive.
It's 1k HP on the floor, so if you're getting, you know, just assaulted from the top, you can just still use it as a very good cover. But he was going back mid-throw, 54 HP, but he got a good shot.
Oh, Mitro says, sit down, Jesse. Heavy sniper through the wall. Picks him off with that shotgun.
Well, that's where you see Heavy Sniper coming in as a... After the nerf of the Deagle, Heavy Snipers are coming back into the metagame if you just want to go through those builds. And it just destroys anything. Apart from the containers, actually. Because it deals 1k damage.
Good enough to just go through that brick wall, though, and just follow up with that shotgun. Here we can see the players still alive in this game as Kesa is the player we jump to.
Oh, Nero just eliminated himself. He jumped from 60 meters. There's a cannon. There's
Here
a
we
cannon.
go.
Remember, you can't move while you're being shot out of it. So there's you here. If you don't have anything, he has to redeploy.
Kesa carrying the redeploy. There is no way he's getting to a safe spot without that redeploy. He was firing all the way through as Keenstar, our points leader, still trying to get himself into the zone.
But I really love the introduction of cannonballs. Like, first of all, it's a new mechanic that we never had in the game before, but it also gives a purpose to the redeploy. So you can actually think about, maybe I should drop those bandages, take the redeploy since I have the possibility of using the cannon. It gives you a lot of mobility that you previously didn't even have the chance to use.
And another Season 8 mobility edition, those volcanic vents. These players were all fighting over one of them as well. They can be so pivotal for those rotations towards the moving zones. And right now, Dementos just trying to peek out anything that he can. You can see Saf is there, Provoked is there. Along the top of your screen, you got a few more of the players that haven't been doing so well in the standings.
Jarko's the winner of the Polish tournament last week, just got an elimination as well. He's not doing well so far in this edition, but maybe he will pick up the pace. But now, you were speaking about the volcanic vents. I think it's a great addition to the game because they add objectives, something that we didn't have before.
Airwax, my pick for this tournament, getting taken out early. That's an early elimination comes through, and that vent Bizzle ended up kind of ending on the vent, getting pushed into its own ceiling and having to readjust back out and build in a different spot. So still a long fight over this as we've got Nate, 72 hours, Bizzle. We've got some of North America's best players in this area, all fighting over objectives, but they are not teammates today. This is not North America versus the world. This is everybody versus everybody, and we'll see who can secure this vent.
Oh, there's a lot of players just, you know, bundling up near defense. Great to see because that's a new thing in the meta game. We have people rotating around. What is interesting about the circle is that we have a lot of natural high grounds around the area, but at the same time there's a lot of vents. So being low ground between those hills is not a death sentence anymore, right? A lot of people will be just focusing the different positioning, and you will have the possibility of just going through those deltas.
Starting to get a couple more eliminations, and we are into the points now. 47 players remain. Bizzle hasn't moved. We've got Isa, Zate up on the high ground as well. Jarkos, the Polish winner, is there. 72 hours down in the valley between the mountains. You can
Look at Skite down below, sitting comfortably.
Sitting comfortably. Let's see whether the zone moves in his favor as well.
Vivid, there's eliminated Cloud.
Vivid, one of the players that really started showing up last year.
Isa, did you see his equipment? 1 rift, 2 launch pads, and now Zate, 1 rift, 1 launch pad.
And on top of it, the Sting Grenade as well is going to help. A lot of people underestimate them, but in competitive games, when people are all in these enclosed spaces very commonly, you can get so much damage, and it's a zoning tool. It forces people to move out of where they're hiding, so don't sleep on them in competitive.
Oh, one of my favorite tools in the game, since they provide you defense and offense at the same time.
Clinging down onto Keolis. Talk about offense. Nate's going to take this fight. Doesn't have the health for himself, but when you're in a shotgun duel, it's basically one shot will end up securing it. Nate.
Oh, is he going for it? He's
trying to
going for the peekaboo.
Desperately trying to just get to. He dodged
There's
that
a trap set up for him. Oh, he got outplayed so hard.
Katowice ends up taking the elimination on Nate as Yakos. We're back on again. Those stick grenades raining out. That good inventory you were talking about in a great position. And people are going to start to move very shortly. Now we're going to see who has the materials, who has the ability to get into that zone.
Nord has also great equipment, a lot of mats. He's in a fantastic position to get into the later stages of this game. Still 42 players arrive.
And that RPG makes it so difficult for everybody trying to move from those buildings, because they're just constantly going to drop down. And if you get caught out, eliminated early, your points are going to be a whole lot lower than you were hoping for if you were looking for a safe rotation.
Ooh, you were talking about knocking people down, but this rocket was meant to be lethal.
Norwood trying to pick up another elimination for himself on Madsen, but Madsen is able to secure himself. Chap is in this late game so far. Vivid is here. Skite is here as well. Big, big names everywhere you look.
Interestingly enough, there's still a lot of materials just lying around, but no one can pick them up. You're in the range of fire if you can't just extend your own box. Those materials were just left out in the open. Vic just died.
Yeah, I think
got eliminated.
There is a player that is precariously placed on just like 2 or 3 walls as a bridge, moving through this high ground. I didn't quite catch who it was. I think it might have been Yakos, but we are on with Norwood, who is in a similar situation for himself.
From what I can see here, Bizzle is in a great position, but he's just extending a little bit down towards the circle, but he's being caught off guard right now.
One of the things that I've heard a lot of the casting team talk about is how few materials Bizzle uses when he's actually moving from place to place.
You can see it right now. Not only wood, but also just single floors and single roofs over him.
And while that is risky, one of the things it gives him is just later and later game material usage. He can stay relevant when you get to the last zones. We'll see whether he gets punished though, but it's one of those player traits that we expect to see players start playing around when they know who they're going up against.
I think that's a viable meta choice. When you know people typically don't have rocket launchers, but we could have seen his being actually dropped down by a rocket launcher.
Getting clipped from behind. He's out of RPGs at this point. Had those 2 eliminations to his name, and now people start to go up the side of the hill here as Yakos up on the high ground in a 1x1 built to the skies.
Oh, he just used so much material, so many materials right now, but he's still sitting at 88.
88 builds for Zayt now trying to get pressured by Yakos. This is so dangerous because there's so much ground behind him. Yakos trying to desperately build down, does manage to get himself to safety.
He's sitting at over 100 HP, but all those stink grenades.
Vivid is down, so is Tixi. In the action feed, we can see people are starting to fall. 19 players remain. Traps, you can hear them. It's the fear being put into those that remain. And Bizzle is on the hunt. There's players left, right, and center just trading shots, trading traps, everything.
Fortunately for the players, all of this is in the natural ground. Oh, but he's being bobbed by the floor over him.
Bizzle nearly finds an angle on it, trying to get out of it, and it's Yakos that takes down Bizzle. The Polish champion just took out Bizzle from this game, who had won earlier today. And no more victory royales, at least not for round 4 for Bizzle from this one. Big, big pickup from Yakos.
This zone is going back into all those builds. If you are being stuck in someone else's builds, it is pretty tough.
We talked before this round about 72 hours. He's still in this game, but barely, because look at the damage he just took on that trade. He was so healthy. I was about to talk about how well he was doing, and Vinny shuts me up in my track. He's so low health now, 72 hours to stay in this late game.
Now take a look at the Issa. He has the ultimate high ground. Great equipment as well. Just take advantage, 2 launch pads.
The only problem is low on material, so he has the mobility, but if he's forced to build down, that's one of those areas you can't afford to be dropping down with that glider. But Vinny, he didn't take out 72 hours, but 72 hours died to the storm. What a game Yakos has had so far as well.
For elimination so far on his account, only 2 builds available. He wants to use them as cover for the shotgun pops.
But he doesn't own most of this is the problem. He's not the one, he can't edit down through this, but it is looking like the storm is going backwards. That's some of his building behind him.
Aim hero and history just on the bottom.
South
It's gonna be a tough fight for them.
Versus Brazil. International fight down on the low ground, and Yakos, he's looking, trying to peek. He's like, please somebody just give me an elimination so I can get some materials. Backtrap. He's just gonna try and make this as dangerous as possible. He got it. He actually picked him up.
Oh no! Oh yes!
The launchpad! The launchpad, Yakos! He drops in. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, Yakos, this is such a masterful late game for him for now. It's 3 players remain. Yakos, it's Poland, Brazil, South Korea remain here. The trap is going down. Yakos looks for that trade. Damage as he falls, but into the storm he goes. Yakos, if he can pick up an elimination, that would be it. And Aim Hero is the one down there as Yakos gets trapped in the zone. Yakos is eliminated from this. It's a 1 versus 1. History is taking on Aim Hero as Aim Hero was the one that picked up the elimination from that. Aim Hero does it for South Korea, picks up a 4th elimination and the victory royale.
What a finish. Ooh, so exciting. When I saw Yakos just falling down, I was like, oh no, he has 2 builds available. There's nothing to attach to. But he saw the launch pad in this zone. 200 IQ play. Also the trap that he just put.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But let's just talk about the victory round.
Yeah, we got to talk about Aim Hero because this is one of the guys that was talking up a big game on Twitter, talking about how nobody needs to land tilted. Didn't matter whether tilted was part of his game. Aim Hero picks up round 4, victory royale. Good late game performance. Great late game performance out of Aim Hero as you can see on screen just how much it means as well. He's like, oof, got away with that one at the end.
Incredible late game stuff, action, drama. Almost killed you at the end there at one moment. Your heart was in your mouth as Yakos took the leap of faith. But I mean, we've got to give huge props. We talked about how we wanted this to be an international tournament. We wanted all different nationalities to step up. South Korea, very much now on the map. A big win there in the final game. 4 eliminations as well coming in for Aim Hero. He couldn't have wished for more.
Yeah, massive. 85 points comes from that. So what a good performance. Like, that was such a clutch late game as well. That could have gone any way, I think.
That is true. I feel like everyone in the late game could have won that game. But at the same time, you know, when you have such an aim, like Aim Hero, and you get that shotgun blast for over 114 damage, that's just game deciding. And it did decide, you know, the win for him. I think this is the first South Korean win as well on the international stage. So here's Circle. But I love it, man. South Koreans are just fantastic in games in general.
Yeah, I mean, look at those 3 nationalities we had in that final circle. We had Brazil, we had South Korea, of course,
Poland,
and we had
Yakos.
Poland, of course, Yakos. And now, for those of you who might not be aware, Yakos obviously won the solos competition last weekend. He's not happy with that. He's here to play.
I mean, I know a lot of people say, oh, then keeping on talking about Yakos, but I want to talk about, like, that was a different playstyle out of Yakos from some of the way he was building to the end game. A little bit in the Polish tournament was slow and steady. This game, he's a late game, I'm going to crush everyone, like, try and get every angle from the high ground. Really impressive performance from him.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from him. But we need to we need to sort of
Take a
talk
break.
a little. Well, before we do that, I want to just highlight again Aim Hero with the win there. You can see it on the bottom there. 4 eliminations to come. A little bit of history for South Korea here on the big stage, making a name for themselves, and certainly a name to keep an eye out for as we move on in the tournament. But that is going to do it, gentlemen. Round number 4 is done. South Korea is on the map. We're going to go for a break, and of course, when we get back after round 4, it's round 5. It's getting easy, this. So Jason and Zacubus, it's over to you for round 5.
All right, to kick things off, I want to start off with a question here, Zacubus, for you, while I try to find my pen in the meantime. My question to you is, if you're one of these players in a top position, do you go into these games trying to play passive, trying to play a different kind of style to make sure you can guarantee yourself those points into like the top 50? Or do you kind of play the way you've been playing this entire time?
It's really tough. It's really tough when you've got all this pressure on you to, you know, make those decisions at the right time. The top tier players will make it in a fraction of a second. But I think for me, if I was in this situation, I would go as passive as I can, just try and gain as much placement as possible. If I've already got a significant point lead, play it safe, play it slow, and only take the fights that you need to take.
I completely agree with you. You know, it's not necessarily the flashiest of players or the coolest of players, but you know what? It's not about being the coolest. It's about getting in that top 10. It's about taking home the trophy and taking home the money. So let's see, you can already see Bizzle starting things off. Jarl and Yarkos, I mean, the man we've been talking about from Poland here, the wildcard player, who had no idea he'd be participating even to today when he's playing his match last week, has had a fantastic start and has the opportunity to take home a lot more money if he can break through out of 20th place.
Yeah, he's showing a great performance now. He's kind of warmed up to this crowd. He's got the home crowd behind him as well, and I think he's really stepping up to the challenge here.
Well, we can see Stompy might have some potential action coming his way, as Nate just going to be trying to farm up some metal here in the meantime. We see the Storm. It's not that far of a run for them, so not too much of a worry, but it seems like these players are playing a passive start here as we're into round 5. Again, realizing you've got to start stepping up now if you want to have a chance.
They just kind of want to farm, leave themselves alone as much as possible, and, you know, find the right fight that suits them. And Stompy actually has a great loadout, but missing that shotgun. Desert Eagle, I mean, the hand cannon even, is, you know, it's obviously been nerfed quite a bit, but it's still not bad. Does a lot of damage, I mean, 75, 150 for the headshot.
I know it's not the hand cannon, but I was watching Ninja last night playing with the scope pistol, and he was doing some serious work with that. So definitely cannot count the pistols out no matter what form they're going to be in.
Yeah, just you feel uneasy in those situations, though, not having that shotgun in that close range, and you've got so many opponents near you. You do feel kind of naked.
And see Myth going to be up against Nord. We saw Nord actually get relatively far in that last match, but he's going to have the pressure from a different kind of beast here coming his way. He's got the shotgun. He's got a really good loadout as well. A couple of clingers in there, a couple of traps to use if he does need.
Yeah, Myth taking the high ground here. He's just going to sit up here and wait for the right opportunity to attack. Going in aggressive on that pyramid. Will he get the edit? No, he's just playing it safe, trying to find the opening, trying to get that floor replaced down there so he can just hack away at his opponent. And here it comes. No, missed the opportunity. Good work from Noad. Gonna dart out on the low ground, turtle himself up a bit. Ooh, attempting a high ground retake, but Myth is way ahead of it. And Myth is now dropping down, gonna repeat the same process, try and find an angle to attack here, Jason, as he slows down a little bit.
Yeah, again, he doesn't have the best of kit Myth here to actually go for this fight. He's up against, I believe that was that blue pump out of nowhere, so he's gonna have to actually respect this. I'm actually curious why he's even taking this fight. Do you have any insights into this?
He could actually dip quite easily out of this right now. I mean, he's in a good position. He has the high ground. His opponent, you know, is gonna be not too aware of where he runs off to if he does it early enough, but that is a game changer right there with the clingers coming in. Opening up some more view sight there.
Bowman just took down Issa. So Issa was one of, I believe, our top 10 placers in the last round. Has been silent so far. We've actually lost out on 10 players. Madsen as well is going to fall, with Poach getting the early elimination into game number 5. Nowhere again, trying to take that high ground position. He messes up his edit a little bit. Myth actually is going to fall into him. He has the SMG up close and personal. He's really going to have to shield this one away, pop down a couple of walls to protect him, but he's being chased down.
This is game over for Myth, surely. Oh no! The clinger came out too late. The animation takes a while to go away, so obviously Noah has to play really carefully there. That was an epic mistake there from Noah. He had the fight sealed, and he let Myth get away with it.
Well, you can see Smeef here again, the duo from Milan, coming in last second. He's had a relatively good sort of start, I'd say, over the course of these 4 rounds. On round 5, he might have a little bit of a different problem with the Vic here, going to be on high ground, just trying to heal up in the meantime. Nowhere to miss, still going head-to-head. I am honestly amazed that both players have not backed away from this one, but Myth will eventually fall to Nowhere. And Lolito has eliminated himself, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was a very weird fight there, going in from Myth. I think he should have dipped out a little bit earlier, play it a little bit safe, but maybe he's trying to catch up.
Yeah, exactly. I respect the play, because I think he realizes he's towards like the lower half of the standings. You need to make something happen. You need to get some sort of momentum going on your side to really climb back up the rankings. So a respectable play, I'd say, hands down.
Yeah, and well played to Noah for actually taking that fight and actually claiming it in the end. He had the advantage with the weapons. I felt like he should have captured it a little bit earlier on.
Well, he almost messed up with the clinger, right? I mean, he came around the corner of the clinger expecting Mid to not face him, and that almost cost cost him his life.
The clingers, they're great if you have the right opportunity, but throwing it in the open like that, when there's an opportunity to attack, you're exposed. You can't build, you can't switch weapon very quickly. So it was the right opportunity for Myth to come back in that fight.
By the way, Aiden did win out on a 1v1 over towards Tilted, so he's trying to make Tilted his own home ground. Milan is out, as you saw in the last few seconds there. Kahuna and Motor. Motor's teammate Eric. Fortunately, it's not alive anymore as he's been falling relatively early. But I think this is an important tournament for him, for Eric Triceps. Just the fact of getting the experience of playing in front of an audience, playing on a stage, you know, get that under your belt. Definitely helps, because every player here is focused on duos right now coming into the next 2 days. So get this, you know, get the bad games out of the way now, right, Zacchaeus, and then worry about the real ones tomorrow.
It's definitely a great warm-up, you know. It warms up your own, you know, mechanics. I think you have to be a little bit more mechanical when you're playing solos. There's more threats around you. You've got to quick and dive, dip out of fights all the time, and it puts a lot of pressure on players that aren't as mechanically gifted. But, you know, these guys, they're the top 100, so it's very rare that any of them are in
So
that.
you're agreeing with me about mechanically gifted is important?
Yeah, of course, it's always important. You always want a mix of both, Jason. You know, don't twist my words.
That is true. I'm sorry, I'm still just riding the high of, you know, being right with C with 21 weapons in the game.
That head is getting way too big on you.
Well, it'll match my nose, at least for me. Motor, in the meantime, still trying to look for some sort of avenue to fight. Again, he does not have a shotgun, so not the best position for him to be in. But again, I kind of think we're seeing the story of how these games are going. Even if you don't have the best weaponry, you need to make something happen.
It's going to be quite the stalemate here with Motor and Kuna. As you can see, the tomato chucking is happening.
Fantastic form as you see Motor.
It is. Well played, lads.
Great little overhand pitch. I think we clocked that one in at about 90 miles an hour.
It'd be very interesting to see a clinger play happen here. Chuck a couple of clingers on the top of it, force the equation out. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think he's just happy to sit out the timer and rotate a little bit later, but we'll switch back to them maybe in a bit.
I'm glad you chimed in there, because I could not remember how many kilometers per hour 90 miles per hour is. Anyway, Zayt in the meantime, he's got the legendary Chug Jug here. He's got the shotgun. His kit is decent. He also has a launch pad to get away if he needs to. But look at that little edit coming through. He tags him up, but doesn't do that much damage to him. So now, gonna go for the Chug Jug. Tajovsky can hear this, but Tajovsky's not gonna go for the engagement just yet.
Tajovsky has to go deep in this. I think he needs to push this fight back. We've got a third contender coming up on the top. I believe it's the Korean player Shinu. And, going in for Tajovsky. This is really bad. And Zayt managed to get off that Chug Jug, no problems.
Yeah. Surprised he wasn't pressured, actually, but I guess it was smart in the end, considering we had the third party come through. Sinnoh's going to be looking for that avenue. Maybe it's going to be above. Zayt, I think, is hoping Tajovsky's going to come in. Now it's a fourth party. It's actually going to be Envy. It's another meta player going to be coming in here to make something happen. As we see the dynamite coming through, Tajovsky's been able to disengage completely. We even have Marky in the general vicinity looking to come in as well. It's just coming down to a giant WrestleMania here.
This is a battle royale in its finest, and that's Envy. And oh, he just got lasered by his own teammate. This is desperate, and the clingers are coming on the top. The sabotage from the Korean team here. They're knocking each other out. But that's just the way the world goes.
The way the cookie crumbles here in Fortnite as we still see the clingers coming through. Envy is going to be running around the corner yet again. Zayt going to be shooting from the window. It seems like no one's going to be free at all in this situation here. But I think Zayt's going to be happy in his position. He's still got some decent ammo.
Yep.
He's got the health to work with here. He's got other players fighting, so he's not the one to force to do so. Now he's just going to look to back away here and escape this.
Great move actually coming in there from Zayt. Really, really good move. Just get out of that mess. It was getting a little bit too hectic. And oh, the shotgun exchange. Great timing then for Envy. As he went for the pickaxe play and the replace, he took a shotgun to the face.
So let's talk about that really quickly then. Because if you're in that situation, if you're Envy, forget about his health right now. You have those two plays, right? You can keep trying to replace your own ceiling over and over again, or you can go for the shot and give up control of that wall.
Mix it up. Keep doing the, keep building, keep turbo building on that floor platform. And then when your opponent keeps doing it, relaxes a bit more into it, like you're not going to push out. That's the timing.
Right.
That's when you're going to trick him, give him the little 1-2 shotgun play.
Well, it worked. You can now see how low Sinnoh was going to be here, and Envy still living to fight another day here in round 5. Surprised, because we've had, was it 4 players here fighting? 2 have been able to get away. And it's just left to the Koreans now to see who gets crowned victor in this little skirmish.
Is pushing in. This is going to end the equation surely right now, as Sinnoh is in the better position in terms of health. Can he find it? He does! Gets that long-awaited elimination. Well played. And finally he can resupply a little bit.
Yeah.
He desperately needed it, but is that Nowood coming in with the drift board above?
Well, he's going to be coming in. Not sure if he's going to be able to pick up that elimination. Again, we see Tajovsky, Kuna, Motor, and Marky as well. Even Tixi. We have 5 players here currently. Just trying to buy some time here, though. In the meantime, looks like Marky wants to be the one to push up. Let me get a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more control. He's even using metal here, most importantly. And you can see a lot of players are already pretty much inside of the zone anyway, so it's not too big of a transition out of these players. Not too big of a rotation. Trying to look through the list if there's anyone kind of key within the top 10 that has been dropped. And generally, as we expected, top 20 players are, for the most part, alive.
Yep, still rocking it safe. All to play for still in this tournament. Ares and Item. Oh, Item's just playing it real cool down low, but oh, Vivax comes in. Vivax comes in, does take some damage. Was that somebody shot him? I think it was Ares coming in with some damage.
X8's taking down Yarkos, so he's going to be out of this fight. He won't have a chance to continue his ranking up to the 29th. But this 1v1v1 battle now breaking out here.
This is an opportunity for Item, to be honest. If he can find the right timing on both of these players to get those crucial last hits, he's going to be in a golden position. Item is actually doing incredibly well in the leaderboard, making at least top 6 right now.
Yeah, he's number 7.
Incredibly consistent. I think he's held that position for about 3 rounds now.
And he's done it kind of quietly, funny enough. Ares, he's going to fall from this as Villax gets his elimination on the board here. Jesse, in the meantime, looking to get aggressive here with the Stink Bomb. Saipan is going to be his prey, potentially. And hearing a couple of shots being routed off here. And he's actually being shot from behind down to 46 health. He actually drops back into him, and he's going to fall from that aggressive play. Jesse going to be eliminated by Saipan, who's going to be more than happy to have that third-party assist come through.
Zapan showing what the EU's made of. The Oceanic region are suffering a little bit in the solos. I was hoping for them to be the underdog story here. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Fato taking some AR shots. We're back on Sinu. 1 by 1 in the low river here. Rotated in. I think he's just going to want to play it cool here. He has that rift to go. He's going to want to save that. But he's lacking a lot of shield there.
Yeah, but we know how it works here with the Siphon system. Just get that elimination. Can get some shield built up for you. A lot of dynamite here for Saipan. As the storm does start to close around. It's actually the circle between Shifty and Tilted along the river, as you can mostly see here on the minimap. Meantime, Stompy and Power potentially going to have a little bit of skirmish here too, Zachabas.
Yeah, I think Stompy's going to be okay there. I think he's just going to hold his ground, wait a little bit. Going for the run now. Trying to find a better rotation here. He's already in the circle, but I think he just wants to get more central for that next circle. That's what he cares about here. Get away from Power as much as possible. He's taken a couple of AR shots from the Na'Vi boys, which happen to be right next to each other, so that's going to be an interesting skirmish.
Kinstar, as you can see, still alive. Kripa as well. Demento 72 hours to the left-hand side of your screen. Smeeth is in here still as well. And Sap, who's had such a rough solo tournament so far after his second place finish at the Secret Skirmish. Looking to change his stars here as he does take down Crazy Llama.
Hopefully he can get these last 2 games under his belt, get some momentum, and maybe have a surprise rise to the top. But you never know. History are 5th place at the moment, doing really well for Brazil right now.
All right, well, you got Kinstar in a high position. You got Poach across the river here as Nate's there as well, up close and personal. 72 hours trying to edge his way in closer to this skirmish. History's under some pressure now, being tagged up quite a bit. Down a 66 shield left.
Yeah. I think he was actually getting lasered from the side there too. Bit of third-party action coming in. Kripa, you know, just showing off some moves, you know, playing it slow again. He knows that History's not going to try and push into him, especially when he just took that damage. The play has slowed down a lot, but the zone has not.
Well, History, the zone, speaking of, it's actually going to close in right behind him, so he will be fine for now. But I think he's going to have to make a move momentarily. Kinstar still sitting quietly in his humble abode here, built up. And Sweep's looking to transition a little bit closer towards where the next zone will be.
Dynamite coming in to change the equation from above. Keenstar chucking it in from distance onto Kripa. Big damage coming in, but only to builds. History and Kripa managed to separate in their own directions and going to play it a little bit safe and not wanting to do anything, but Keenstar is having none of it. He wants to catch up after that last game. He's dropped down to 2nd place now, and now it's looking to get some elimination points on the go.
We have lost both Na'Vi players, though. Aspect able to clean up Alpha, and Aspect's been having a very rough match. History actually turns around against Dementos, so that 1v1 that's happening for is not really going to come into fruition just yet. And look at Endiza. That position over towards the top of the mountain. I mean, he's going to have to move eventually. But still, he's able to laser down on quite a few players transitioning on the rotation.
Probably has a redeploy or some form of movement tool that can help him get across the map, no problem. But Keemstar does not. He's naked here, running through the river. But luckily, everybody is rotating a little bit early here in the circle, and he's got away with it so far.
See Svenos and Aiden here still alive on top of things. Jarl just trying to get out of this rough spot, as we do see a lot of things being thrown in his direction with the dynamite. Svenos looks like he wants to use the rift here, and he will actually pop this one off, so not going to save it for later on. But again, realizing he needs to have a easier rotation instead of taking too much damage, losing too much materials.
Everybody was trying to dive into that rift. It got a little bit hectic. Aiden then was forced to use his jump pad instead. Very interesting. Svenos didn't even try to make any form of movement in terms of just running through the ground, you know, gaining ground through natural causes. He decides to go with a safe play with a rift. Obviously, you want to save it as late as possible for, you know, that high ground control later on. But, you know, he'd rather not take any early damage.
Well, and Deez, as we pointed out before, on that high ground of the mountain has been eliminated. So it looks like his rotation did not go successfully. But Item, you already pointed out before, Zacchaeus, he's still alive here on the low ground, currently in 7th place overall in the standings. He's in the money, currently sitting at $4,000 in his pocket. But Saf, that's the man I really want to see. This is the man I had pitted to win the whole thing when it comes to solos. He's got that one elimination and almost has that second.
Yep, I saw your predictions on Twitter, but it seems like it might not come to fruition unless things can change up here for Saf. Unless he can kick up the pace here. Really desperately, he's going aggro here on Smith. He knows he's low. And oh, that's heartbreaking. Unfortunately, his elimination was just removed from him as somebody else comes in with a third party and just snatches it away.
Unfortunate for him, but I still think he'll be happy to just live to fight another day. We can see the rift being used. Vato jumps in as well. I think Kinzo's going to go here and maybe hop into it too, or maybe just protect it a little bit more to bait anyone in. Demo, not in the best position, as you can see him on the left-hand side of your screen. But we see the circle. It's going to be actually moving away from the mountain. It'll be partially in it, yes. The majority of it is over towards the valley of that river. So high ground going to come in very key here. You do not want to fight in that water.
Got to be really careful with your map control here. We've got a supply drop coming in here on Chap. This is a godsend, providing those stickies don't knock him down. And they don't. Luckily, he's okay. He was a little bit cautious there, obviously so. But here's where it's really important, Jason. This is when you need map survival skills. You need to save them as long as possible, especially with a mountain that could potentially be in the final circles.
And Chap only has 3 builds left too, so he's got to hope for something really good inside of this supply drop. Hope for some eliminations. Speaking of elims, Bloodex, long-range shotgun. Not going to net him any damage, but he's going to have to start to rotate here into the circle momentarily. 47 players left alive here in round 5. He's actually going to head to the outside of the zone for the launch pad. So nice little usage, though the problem is he's down to 29 health.
He took a lot of damage, but that should guarantee him a spot to land in the circle, providing that he's not focused while he is in the air. Again, a lot of clingers coming out down onto Kaiser there. But I think he's going to be okay. I think he dipped back into a little bit deeper of his build.
It's starting to feel like this game we might have a repeat winner. We still got Keemstar alive. I believe we do have Aim Hero still alive as well. Bizzle's still going to be in there, who won our round 1. Even potentially looking for an edit up here, as the Storm now going to be moving up towards the northeast side. He's actually going to be spotted out. Does get knocked down, but he has the 2 eliminations for himself. Jules has fallen, so that was game 3 winner.
This is massive for Bizzle right now. He needs to maintain this good passive play until that late game, and it's going to kick off on this next circle. It's one hell of a run, Jason, as they have to come off the hill, I believe. So Bizzle hopefully has the items. I think he did have a jump pad as well, so we'll see how he uses it here.
There we go, Rift's being used. Bloodex trying to push in from the high position. Bizzle, yep, jump pad, like you said, going to be using this to actually get across a little bit closer to the Storm and go to where their buildings have already been used before. So he can maintain the high ground. Look how much material he has to still build with here. That's something we talked about now all day, and how good he is at maintaining his materials when we get to these later edges of the game when you need to be able to maintain high ground position.
Margin's caught out at the backside of the circle, rotating in a little bit late, wasting a lot of mats here. This could be potentially bad for him a little bit later on in the game.
Oh my gosh, everyone is trying to fight for that high ground spot. You can see Aiden trying to defend it as Bizzle's going to be here on top of things as well. He's still got the shotgun to use. Stompy's now down. Item's going to be out of this one. So that 7th place he currently does have could change a little bit though. I don't think it would change too much now with him dropping a little bit early on. But Vato, he's got the ultimate high ground here, Zacchaeus.
He does, and what a good position to be in, but has to be careful. Margin on his tail there, but is getting knocked back down. Good work from Vato, putting the pressure on, pushing him down further into the builds. And there we have Liquid Vivid getting knocked out.
Yeah, Bizzle got him on that. Chap's going to fall as well. Seth's out of this one. Great little shot out of Vato to maintain his position with his first elimination in this round now under that belt. Morgan, as you mentioned before, he's still here. He's still fine. He's still looking to transition to stay safe here. The Vic going to back away to go into a rift, so now he'll be on the high ground safe for a while. Saf going to be on the low ground. As you can see, he has Mitro off to his side to potentially force a fight.
Bizzle's still in this. He's going big. He's going for the high ground. No, he's dipped out. He's going to try and knock his opponent down. Vato in a bad position, but now pressure coming in from Bizzle from all sides. He has to slow down his aggression and find another way to claim that high ground.
He's used basically 100 builds since we last talked about him. That's how crazy things have been with him trying to maintain or trying to get a high ground position. You see Vato, 58 builds left for him. Saf has fallen to Mitro this time. And Mitro going to be looking for a top 10 finish potentially. Aspect going to be low on the low ground as well.
Margin, our 3rd place, in a really bad position here. He's going to go down. Oh, I believe that was Funk Bomb that actually claimed that one there. And that is devastating for him. Obviously holding the 3rd place. And there's still a load of people to play for here.
I was just about to mention that Jordan, we still have some Aussie hope, but he was eliminated by Aiden here as you see him on the screen trying to battle for the high ground side. Vato, he's still there. He's still got 33 builds left. He's going to be running out. He's going to have a challenge though. It's going to be Scram trying to look for this elimination somehow. Vato, how can he fight back from this one? He still has some shield he could pop here with the small shields, but he needs the time.
He needs the space. Aiden, I think this is the latest circle that we've ever seen him at. Usually an early game warrior, but really providing. But Bizzle now out of mats, Jason.
He's out of mats. He's got to find some sort of avenue back into this one. And just like that, he gets the elimination. He gets some damage done with Vato, but he's going to fall himself, eliminating himself out of the fight here in round 5. Scram. Now he's going to be the one on the high ground with just a couple players left alive. Aiden, as you mentioned before, he's still here. He's still fighting. He's in the storm at the moment. I don't think he's about to get back into this one, so eventually he will fall. But Mitro's there, and Mitro has another limb. Aiden has fallen. And so is Mitro.
Yeah, Mitro's going out big right now. He's been a bit of a surprise. This is a classic Mitro. He always seems to find himself hidden in the middle of this mess and come out on top. And this is his game to take right now.
See Scram, 3 eliminations. He's got high ground position 2. It's going to be Black Shoe and the Vic. We're definitely going to have a new victor here coming into round 5. You would imagine these two on the bottom side are going to have to battle out against each other, trying to transition out with the Storm. Black Suit almost being walled off completely as he's trying to just stay healthy here, trying to stay out of that damage that's going to be taken away. The Vic down to half HP as well. Scram, thing is, like, he's in this position where he could potentially shoot down, could fight, but there's so much building everywhere, he doesn't have a clean shot.
Black's at the very bottom of this build. Scram has the great high ground here, and now it's just going to build towards the circle, play it slow, find the right shots here. He just has to play this so smooth and so slow, Jason.
Yeah, he's almost at a disadvantageous position up because he does have his opponent with a lot more HP. He's not able to hit that first shot. 12 builds, 10 builds remain. He's in the storm. He's taking damage. He jumps in. He's going to catch himself midair with 7 builds left to go, but he's down to about 77 HP, now down to 37, and the shots from below won't matter. So it looks like the storm has done the damage anyways, and we will see Scram take his first victory royale.
Wow, that was absolutely insane. I can't believe it. Scram finding that at the end there, and what was really weird is that I seem to have lost Mitro altogether at one point.
Yeah, he did. When Aiden did fall to the storm, he fell right after. So a little bit unfortunate that he wasn't able to stay alive longer, but hey, we have 5 rounds now done. We have 5 different victors across the board. It's really anyone's game. It really is right now.
The Swiss are doing very, very strong here. Kinstar, Scram now showing and representing the Swiss nation. Good to see.
Yeah, good to see another winner on the board here. Every single player in this lobby seems to have the capability to pull off the victory royale. And as we go on in these rounds, and we have now 5 rounds done, that means that consistency is starting to become even more important. It's not about the victory royale so much because they're being spread among so many players. It's about those top 5.
success. Myth taking out Norwood, and actually Funk Bomb going down in the feed as well. I think he's in 4th right there.
Well, he was. I don't think he's going to be there anymore after that. We talked about him as really climbing up the standings and all of a sudden shooting up into top 5. But with that elimination, he's going to be hurt.
Yeah. And here, we're actually just looking at the map all around. We talked about Bizzle. He's uncontested in Divot. That's one of his strengths. When he is uncontested there, really doing well. But Tilted actually had something like 6 players there. So we're really starting to see things heat up. A lot of players starting to mix it up and go for those kind of risky drops.
I mean, the thing is, you're obviously a very highly competitive player and a very good player. If you're in this kind of tournament, are you looking at this if you're not in top 50 or even in top 40 with arm grasp of the top 20 position? Are you trying to spoil people's chances by trying to get aggressive and trying to maybe contest their spots that they normally wouldn't expect someone to be there?
No, definitely not trying to spoil if I'm not in contention, but I am trying to still get into contention for that, for that money, or for that prize regardless, up into that top 20. That's where I'm trying to reach. And going Tilted is a way to do that, right? Remember, there's 2 games, and outside of the top 20 is really not, it's always volatile. We saw that in the Polish event. It's very, very volatile because people aren't scoring points every single game.
And you can kind of play like you've got nothing to lose almost at that sense of
exactly.
If we can't, if I can't break top 20, then let's just go ham and go crazy. Keyless in the meantime, going to get a couple of clingers here, potentially able to trade out that infantry rifle, which he will do just that. Jarkos, a man we've been talking about a ton, has had a relatively quiet last match. Looking to obviously change his stars here to get it to
so good here. Jarkos just completely obliterating the bottom floor of that treehouse there, or of that, yeah, the treehouse. And now he's on to Jaro. Let's see if Jaro can come back from the back foot here. He did escape that basement. That was really strong, really smart from him.
He's got the shotgun. He's got an opportunity. He does get the replay. He gets the shot. He's on a 5 HP though. And he will pay the price.
That's the end of Jarkos there. We're talking about how he was clawing his way into the standings. And now over towards the desert, and Diza on the edge.
He just recently picked up an elimination. I didn't see who it was onto, but an elimination nonetheless. And he's got a pretty decent K, at least in terms of weapons. So we could use some healing items here.
We'll see. Now, all the early game action is starting to really heat up. We'll see if any of the other hot spots like Retail, Tilted, Paradise are all starting to finish up. But here's Nikov. Nikov was one of our leaders early as well, and now it's Fox on the camo. Camo in that Shifty Shafts. The house is right on the edge. It's all camo right now. Fox trying to heal up, and he does actually connect. You saw him place the wall and the floor there to connect it in 2 different spots. Camo working on it, but Fox with the nice edit there.
That tac shotgun's gonna need to do some serious work here. As just gonna have the SMG there back. You can see him trying to pop his big shield here the best he can. The tac shotgun comes in, but hey, the tac shotgun's not as good as the pump. And Camo with the disrespect as well. He gets the elim.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. Whenever you're going up against a pump with no shield, it can always change right in a blink of an eye, and that's what's gonna happen. But here, Keyless in the Stompy, in that Frosty.
He's in the stink. He's in the stink down to 27 HP. He's trying to turbo build as well to stop himself from being eliminated. Not trying to edit his way out, which he does get some distance, but distance won't get you free here. Stompy, 104 HP, is looking just for a different angle to fight with, and maybe this is his opportunity to actually just back away for now. I think as he wants this elimination, even some clingers being thrown into, I don't know why, if you're Keyless, you're to do that.
Yeah, Keyless there, when he was stunk, he had the campfire going, so he realized he could just back off, but he's got to be careful now. He can come through the top, Stompy that is, and he's on the back foot, but one of the things that impressed me so much about these players that Frosty Keyless took out Nate Hill with such an impressive fashion. He's really good out of a box.
Here we go, trying to edit above him. You can see that he's just expecting it to be there too, trying to potentially back away. The trap being thrown down. It will halt the push out of Stompy, who eats a hell of a lot of damage there. Now down to 57 HP, being forced to pop these small shields as Keyless might use this opportunity to get aggressive, might use this opportunity to actually catch him off guard.
He's so low. He's only at 2 HP right now. And they're actually both so low. One shot could make the difference here in this fight. And again, Keyless is so strong out of that box. He's bandaging up. Actually, Stompy right now running out of ammo, so I think he might decide to back up. He can still do this with this loadout. Oh, actually finding the stinks. This could be huge, Jason.
It could be, if he can just catch on Keyless locked into that building here. He does take the high ground. He's actually above him with the stink bomb. It's not going to connect onto Keyless, though, unfortunately. He won't see the damage ticks. He knows that Keyless is safe for now. In the meantime, those bandages that Keyless was able to get with his transition to that second floor has got him back fairly decent in HP.
Yeah. And there, Stompy trying to find him there with the stinks. He's not going to be able to. They do have the zone, so they have plenty of room to fight here for the remaining time. He still can use these stinks to kind of just find out where he is, right? If he gets 1 tick, even if it's only 1 tick, that's the information he needs to know exactly where he is.
And what's so funny, this fight's been going on for so long, and yet we've had no eliminations really around the board from anyone else. Aspect, unfortunately, has fallen to Seth there. And Kilos, I don't know how he's still fighting away from this one. He was down to 2 health, and he's back up to 75, and he might have an opportunity to turn this around on Stompy's head as Stompy's looking to find him yet again. The thing is, time is taken away, and time that you're fighting is time you're not farming materials, it's not picking up weapons, not getting more ammo, which is still going to be low on.
That's a very good point, Jason. And also, oh, actually hopping in, Imagine is in a fight right here on the edge of Loot Lake. I'm hoping this isn't his teammate. No, it's Envy and Lil J. A lot of the Asian players in this area right now.
Oh, and some dynamite thrown in.
We actually saw Lil J's teammate do exactly the same thing with a grenade launcher early on in the game. And really, he just likes to force the issue for other players, right? Envy versus Imagine. He's like, guys, fight. Come on, I want you to fight so I can just take shots at you.
Let me help you guys force an elimination so I can come in and steal one away. He actually was interrupted while I was using the legendary Chug Jug. He's eventually going to get it off, though it seems after about 15 seconds of time. So he will have that 200 HP to work with. He still does not have a pump shotgun, though. And he knows there's 2 players here in the vicinity that he has to really respect and be careful of.
Actually, Imagine is one of the only players I know who really prefers the tac shotgun. I've watched him a lot. I haven't watched him recently, but always preferring that tac shotgun just because of the rate of fire, I guess, in terms of that.
My man. My man. I'm all about that. I don't have the aim that some of these kids here playing do have.
Jason's
I'm more of a
tac boy.
Yeah, I'm more of a brain player, and well, when your brain's as small as mine, you're not really doing much playing, I guess. Rizart, in the meantime, going to be up against 7 SSK7.
It's a risky peek there, the left shoulder. He's got to be careful. Oh, and he does manage to actually switch the peek onto Rizart. Takes him out. Nice play there from SSK7. But he's in the zone. He has to find a way out. Again, we see all these players fighting in the zone right on the edge sometimes. They always need to have a plan to get back into the zone. We'll see what he decides to do, but again, only ticking for 1. He has the opportunity there. This is still a stalemate here.
And now Moggen's like, all right, I'm going to just sit here and let you 2 fight it out since Lil J's been the one just interrupting our skirmish.
But it's an issue for Imagine, right? Because actually, Envy has taken a position that's going to pinch Imagine between Lil J and Envy. So nice play there by Envy, but Lil J says, actually, no, I don't want to duo up on Imagine. I just want to make this a nice, even fight. Let's be a gentleman. And he takes some shots on Envy. Again, scary position there for Imagine.
Yeah. I think as you can see, Lolito as well, still going to be potentially coming in here in a moment's time. Zeke, one of our Polish players, does get the shot, gets the elimination.
What a shot there from Zeke. Just drops down and immediately takes it to the face there. Nice play. SSK7 goes down. That's one of the other issues about going on the zone. People can stay in, and I think Zeke actually ran ahead of them and managed to take him out there when he came through.
So I think Moggen's taken some damage. He's lost some shield.
Yeah.
Envy, we saw, took a couple of shots from Lil J just from across the way here just a little bit earlier on as well. So it seems like everyone is fighting everyone here in this little 3-way skirmish.
Really tough position, especially because he has 2 players who don't have any intention of moving. Fortunately for them, the zone is not that far. It is all the way towards Tilted, so they have to get across the lake. And Chat here grabbing a rift. He's low on HP, but that's going to be okay. Just have those 2 big pots. If you can find something to heal back up in terms of what we call white health, and he's going to be in good shape for the end game.
And like again, he has push though.
But imagine he spots the launch pad, I think, that this other player had, and now it's Envy versus Lil J.
I think Lil J got a little impatient here. He wants the elimination. He wants to get 1 on the board in round number 6. Going to be popping one of the small shields. He's going to be knocked down before he can even get this one off, so he's going to be forced to build back up here. 42 builds left to go.
That's his opportunity to escape there. As soon as those players pop, Imagine just was waiting for that. He was saying, okay, when can I go? And he's actually going to find the launch pad from Lil J here that he used to actually engage there. He's going to take a few shots and then get out of here. That's Imagine's idea right now. As those players are not going to be able to do anything to Imagine.
Do it.
There is a launch pad nearby for these guys, so they have the escape plan, but this fight needs to end now.
I want to see him almost go in there and fight them, actually. In the meantime, Lil J trying to transition across the water. Like I said, Moggen has backed away from this one, so he gets a little bit lucky from being in the pincer position. He does get himself away, and Envy has won the battle.
Yeah, Envy taking it there. Actually, so just a little note on the Chinese scene. They do play a little bit of a different format where eliminations are very, very heavily incentivized. So that's kind of the style that they play over there, making sure they get those elims, making sure that they hold as long as possible for the opportunities there. And now you can see everybody spread around the zone. You see Animal's still up. Vinny's up. Who else is in contention right now?
You got Vivid still alive. You got Mizo in there as well. Bizzle, Demo, a lot of players
Imagine still up. Obviously, we saw him get away.
We're going to see Lama here. One of our Japanese players. I think one of our 2 Japanese players, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, him and his teammate Rizart. One of the 2 Japanese players here. Lama, we see a little bit more than Rizart. We saw Rizart get a get. I think he was eliminated by SSK7 earlier.
Yeah, then SSK7 did fall right after that. Vinny, though, that's definitely one of the players who's currently ranked 5 at the moment. He fell from 1st to 5th in the last round.
There's
Needs to have a good game here.
Yeah, Vinny is one of the players who's doing the most in terms of getting eliminations in the end game. He's always getting towards that end game, and he's always finding tons of elims. We haven't seen much of him on our feed, but he is doing so well with that.
Let's see, check
Imagine again.
He still just seems, wherever he is, there seems to be always someone fighting in his direction.
And that's going to be rough for him, especially if they realize he's there. He's actually trying to get over to him, but no, he's going to get shot right back. And Imagine takes advantage, actually. He might decide to push. He kind of has to push. Look at his materials, Jason. He's kind of running it low. So he knows his player's low. He's going to push all the way under. See what he can do on the, he's in zone. That's very important. And he actually gets in his box.
He's in the zone, but the thing is, he still has only the attack. Does he have the damage to take down Skix here? Or sorry, Miz, right above him.
Might do. Just got to be careful with the edits. He did pick up a little bit of mats. That's going to buy him a little bit more time. But if he does not take out Mies, and if he does not have mats for him, or any sort of loadout, but look who's lurking in the back. It's Envy. And he's again going to bring it to them.
Took that little J.
There it is.
Back in.
Imagine got it. That's very important. He's
Stop celebrating. There's more people. You're not safe yet. I know you want to dance. We still got Envy here who's coming back for seconds. He's coming back to finish off what he started earlier on. I think Magan immediately re-notices this and does start to focus up here because he needs this elimination, especially with his position at number 2. If he wants to dethrone Bizzle and take that first place away, he's going to need this elim. He's going to need to escape this one.
They're both holding edits with the box in between. You can see Envy doing a little bit of flip in the background, starting to throw the tomatoes. It's a dance-off, Jason. But
the breakdance fighting.
Oh my goodness. So Imagine is not getting let go. Actually, here comes Envy. He says, maybe I do want to push this. But I think it's the point in time where people are starting to realize that third circle's starting to close. They're starting to realize there's so much congestion getting all around. There's actually less players than we would be used to. Just trying to replace that wall down now.
Well, you heard Scram earlier on in the interview with Adam. He was saying he learned to not fight mid-game. Yeah. There's almost no point for him to do it because if you fall here, you're out of the top 50, you're out of points.
But one of the things, though, they're in a box on low ground, and because of this, nobody else can really tell that they're actually fighting. So imagine here. Really, nobody's letting him go. He's just going to continue to dance, try to dance him off. Say, go away, man. I don't want to fight you. Come on. You already chased me one time in Loot Lake. Come on, man.
Well, speaking of chasing, Kinstar has been chasing back for a top position since he fell earlier on when he did have number 1 winning round 2. Yeah. If you're just joining us and missed out on that. He's looking pretty here with his HP, but his weaponry is still a little bit lacking, but he has so much shield to work with here.
Yeah, the French community, the French-speaking community did so well early on, but they've kind of all fallen off a little bit. They're still in that top 10 area, and they can come right back up into this.
I'm going to hit you with a stat real quick, okay?
Okay.
Kind of a stat. So we looked at the amount of players, and we looked at how many countries, right? 28 countries, 17 players out of the 100 are from the US, 6 from the UK, 7 from Sweden, and 12 from France. I did not realize we have so many French participants here.
The French scene is absolutely dominant from the beginning, and this is the guy who actually led the charge, Kinstar, one of the stars of the French community. That was terrible, wasn't it?
Nah, it was good. I like it. At least you didn't dab like on set here next to me.
Oh my goodness.
Meantime, Milan here, top of the clock tower. Again, the prodigy that everyone's been talking about. Again, hasn't had the greatest performance when it comes to solos, but I really want to see how he does up with Smeeth tomorrow when we do get into the duos. But Tilt to the Storm is closing. You have to evacuate the city.
This
but look
next
how many
zone
players
is so important.
are towards the southwest side compared to the north.
Yeah.
Like, north is completely open.
The shifty shafts and the houses let you actually hide there a lot more. We see actually that broken house over towards that Dusty Divot area being a little bit bigger has let a lot more people stay. Now, Bizzle on screen, Vivid on screen, Aim Hero. There's 72 hours as well. A lot of representation in the leaderboards here in the top.
And Bizzle's in the thick of it here, pretty much in the middle of this giant city that's being built up and erected.
This is crazy. Again, there's so much places. Actually, Myth taking out chat there in the feed. Again, like I'm talking about Shifty, there's so much to just hide in. There's a little bit of corners you can just box yourself up in random places. And you see Bizzle taking those walls down so he can place walls of his own.
And on that note, right, because there's so many of these angles you can hide in, moving or traversing this area can be so deadly because there's so many angles you can be shot from.
This is an issue here for Imagine and Envy. They're not in zone. They have a little bit of ways to go. And
I love that!
Using the dynamite onto his launch pad says, Envy, you cannot chase me no longer. And there we go. He makes it away. I was wondering how he's going to make it out there. That's what I was talking about. They're so far from zone. They need to make it through. They're in the ravine. There's so many issues there for Magin, but he finds a spot. He finds a way, but no. Actually, Envy's going to come right back over there.
I love that, like 200 IQ play out of him. Hoopik going to be very high in the air as he's just going to ditch the quad crash. He's just going to hit a tree.
Yeah.
Poor.
You saw he immediately got out the quad crasher as soon as the quad crasher hit that floor, because otherwise you could take fall damage. So.
Yeah. And Morgan, now the thing is, the battle never ends for him, it seems. Now Svenos is going to be the one he has to contend with here as he's tucked away inside of his, but you can see Myth there towards the far end side. Item still in there, who's currently in the top 10. Skite there as well. I saw Ninja dancing to this last night on a stream. It's fantastic. He's got moves.
He's got moves indeed. Remember, guys, this is game 6. One more game to go after this. These players are all trying their hardest. You can tell that they're playing so much slower. They're playing so much calmer. You saw it in the fight with Envy and Magin and the rest of these players as well. Now it's going to be hill ending right next to Shifty Shafts, right over the ravine. This is going to be very dangerous for a lot of players if they're not comfortable fighting in this ravine.
I love how you point out the importance of this round as well, because there's only one left to go. Look at this. A lot of buildings being torn down here. Animal on about half HP. You can see Vivid being shot up from the left-hand side. Jordan's going to be there up against Saf as well. Saf is, again, he's been my guy I've been looking at to take this whole thing. But Bizzle, he's just sneaking under the radar. He's not really been shot at. There's not really any attention towards this direction.
There's Animal going low. Mirwana trying to get any damage he can. And there, that half in, half out zone is actually in the ravine, like I was talking about. This is going to be so tough for a lot of these players because you have to go down and then you have to come up. So it is kind of, we'll see when we look at the zone here, but Saf there. Mirwana still up on high ground. 72 Hours was still up on high ground. There's Jordan as well.
He did have a rift actually thrown in there. I think about 2 or 3 players did take to potentially get into the high ground. You can see the storm surge starting to affect some players here. Bizzle sitting on the edge here. Aim here is being tagged down damage just from the storm.
Yeah, we saw the storm surge tick, and it took out a few players, so it's going to go back away. Bizzle is actually first to zone. That was so key for this zone. That was my key point getting into this, is the first people and the last people are going to be in good shape here, because the last people, we saw it just slightly there, the half in, half out zone is on the mountain. So if you can go late and grab that mountain, you're going to be in a really good position, especially if it goes over the mountain.
You see Mitro's still going to be alive, 72 Hours as well. Demo trying to take some high ground control here as he has a chug jug.
Ooh, Vinny as well, right on high ground, right under Demo. We'll see what he's able to do. It's an endgame Slayer. Here's Demo. He has 2 elims for his own right now already, but Vinny says, hey, actually, you're not paying attention to me. Gets a little bit of damage done. Demo has that chug. This is probably going to be his last opportunity to use it.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I mean, he's 200 HP. He doesn't have a need to use it until he does get tagged up from the high ground. Sinu is going to be up there. Still one of our Korean players. Now, Vinny recently signed over to TSM, if you guys were paying attention. I believe that was yesterday. Yeah. And he's still in our 5th position overall at the moment, looking to climb further into the rankings. Zate's going to be there. You can see Seth trying to heal it from the campfire.
Imagine is so close to Issa right now. That's such a dangerous person to be next to. Issa can end fights in an instant, just like Aiden.
Oh my gosh, Isma.
Sinu being...
Talk about being king of the castle. Look at him. He's high up.
A little bit of a nuisance there. There's actually nobody decided to take that mountain there. It's all on the Shifty side, and it's going to go across. You can look right now on the bottom right of your screen. It's going back over to high ground, away towards Dusty Divot, basically.
So if you're Isma here, like, what do you do? What's your game plan? I would imagine being this high up is not a very safe feeling when you cross this valley.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see if Sinu or somebody else has a little bit of mobility on high ground. If they don't, then I got to jump down and try to make the rotate. But little mats for him. Aim Hero goes down there. A lot of players focusing, trying to get that launch pad. Nobody actually used it. He just placed it, didn't use it.
That's another player who's already won one of our victory royales here so far today, out of the fight for another chance. Milan's to get the elimination onto Myth here, as we do see the launch pads coming in. Everyone's skydiving over here.
That's what I'm talking about. Everybody using that mobility to get up on the high ground without having to build up. That's the riskiest spot, is to be building up. But here's Kinstar, one of the French players that we were paying attention to, the French community. Here's Bizzle as well. Bizzle, first place right now, only 18 builds. We'll see what he's going to be able to manage to do. He's going to get knocked down, and that's so scary for him. So much in, but Philex takes him out. That's the problem. When you get knocked down, you just fall into people's boxes.
But that's important, though. That's important for Vin, for instance, who's 5th place. Yeah. The fact that Bizzle's not out of this means there's not a lot of points that he can build up into this. As long as he can keep himself alive, Vinny, he can build up a big lead and close this gap up against his Bizzle.
That's for sure, and we'll see if Magin is still up as well.
Yeah, there he is.
There he is, Magin on the high ground with the minigun. Here he is. He's trying to do this. If he can get the placements in this game, he's going to take a strong lead against Bizzle and the other players in the lobby. Actually, you can see somebody already towards the other side of this, building up the metal box there. That's Sinu. Sinu doing such a good job staying ahead. And now Imagine trying to build up towards him, but Sinu's not letting him, and he's build fighting him. So Imagine's going to decide, hey, I don't want high ground. You can take it. I don't really want it.
Magan needs to be careful, though. The fact he's running out of materials, he needs to stay alive, like you mentioned before. Vinny gets himself another elimination.
He's in trouble, though. He's in trouble. It's going up the hill even further, but it's going to go across the hill as well. So if he doesn't get up, he's going to be stuck.
Now, you hear a lot of fingers going off here. In the meantime, you can see some bottle rockets even being thrown. That's from Sinu, who was carrying them the entire time here.
That's actually so scary. Those bottle rockets going out right up above you in end game. 10 players remaining now.
Oh, what a shot! Kinstar says, hell no, not today here. Sinu's going to fall. The Vic's still in there. Kinstar needs more eliminations. Vinny's still on the low ground with not a lot of people around.
It's another one.
On Boyer. That's now 3.
Staying in the zone and taking Boyer out just so he can get that health on Elim there, and back again with Imagine. He's got 2 Elims. He's got high ground, and guess what? It's going into the open. He's got to start dropping down. Only 12 builds remaining.
It's 2 of our top 5 players still alive here left in round number 6. You can see Vinny, though, still a lot of people to fight out.
This is a huge fight.
Elimination, and Dementos will fall as well. That's his 3rd. And Magan, I almost think he was overtaken Bizzle for first place, but can he get more? A first place finish for him now would guarantee that first place spot and almost guarantee him a top 10.
Yeah, and Vinny fighting on low ground against Aries as well. Imagine trying to take out anybody else he can. Zeke goes down. Here we go. Imagine. No more builds. He takes so much damage, and Aries takes him out. So it's a 1v1 now.
Aries up against 1. Can he get this elimination? Since somehow he pulled this off, the pressure's coming as he's trying to build above the 10. Builds left for him. Now down to 5. He's got the shotgun, though.
Well. 6 Elims, and he can also use that launch pad to take high ground if he needs to against the Vic, but he's going to be ready for that.
This could be a 100-point game for him if he gets this final elimination up against the Vic. They're about almost equal in terms of HP. As you can see, the Vic missing a little bit of health. The Storms continue to move. It's going back up to the high ground. How is Aries going to get back up there?
It's going over the hill, so Vic just needs to kind of hell. Oh, but he heavy snipes him down, and no, he's going to stay up. I think he's no mats down below, but both of them are low mats. So this is going to go to it. They're going to get in the zone right here.
He's got bandages, though. He could probably heal this one out, even if he can't build back up.
He's going to go for
the shot! He chases it down, and again, Ball. And we have a new victor here for our Victory Royale. The Vic claims his first one of the day.
The Victory Royale for the Vic there. Again, the French-speaking community is coming in. And wow, that was such a good decision there. You saw how he immediately went silent when he realized his zone was going over and when he realized his opponent was down below. He went silent, said, okay, maybe he's going to think I went high ground. And that's exactly what happened. He comes down on him in surprise and takes him out with a nice, clean punch shot.
I think you can tell as well on the screen here what it means to him, the pressure he was under in that final 1v1. So well done by him, and he's got to feel great.
Oh, he's got to feel fantastic, gentlemen. A fantastic job. Really enjoyed that cast from you guys. The Vic then picking up the Victory Royale. I mean, the French community, we were saying, oh, they've got a little bit quiet here, and then all of a sudden, they burst back into life here.
Bursting back into life for sure. The Vic, we'll see where he lands in the standings. I'm super excited to see them because this is going to be our last lick before Game 7. The last one. Oh, my goodness.
Honestly, I can't wait to see the standings, actually, because Bizzle, who did fall earlier on, Magan, who made it into, I think, the top 5, should almost certainly have overtaken him. The question comes down to by how much. And then Funkbomb, who was in 4th place, dropped so early. So that 4th place he did have, I almost think he's going to be dropped out of top 10, if not top 15, or even out of the money out of top 20.
Yeah, Imagine definitely securing himself, I think, definitely for sure, 1st place. And it's all going to be about how big of a gap is it going to be, right?
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to talk about, because we talked about our top 2 a lot here. Bizzle, Imagine, who have kind of been swapping places for the majority of the day, and there's been a big shift here. I think that Bizzle was eliminated around the 30th place or something like that in that game, and obviously Imagine taking it right down to the last few players there. My point to make here is how close has everyone got to Bizzle below him now? How big is that gap at the top of the leaderboard now? Is there other players still in contention here with a big Game 7 who could take home the whole thing?
There has to be, right? There has to be some people in contention for #1 place. It comes down to, like we were talking about, that 100-point game you still can get. You get those 7 eliminations, and you get the Victory Royale, and you could easily shoot through to 1st.
Can we talk about how much pressure Imagine was under that entire game?
Yeah.
Envy was chasing him all the way through, and then guess what? He fought Envy's teammate in Sinu on the high ground, and yeah, just all the way through. Pretty much he was shambles.
He was pincered between Little J and Envy, and then he eventually got away when Little J got aggressive against Envy, so he backed off. Then he had Svenos a little bit later on. Actually, he was up against Envy again before that, and he was constant under pressure. I wanted to mention really quickly, Bala, how awesome it is when you see the moving storms go over these mountains. you really see people tested and really challenged when it comes into these final zones.
Yeah, that mobility ends up being so key. The players who are able to grab that
Then, ladies and gentlemen, it all comes down to this. Round number 7 is about to get underway, and to take you through the action, it's Stress and Zacubus.
Loading in with one of our top 3. Bizzle is who we're watching for the start of round 7, the final round of solos action here at the ESL Katowice Royale. Imagine we're going to follow a lot of our top 3 in the early game. I made this request because it is such an important factor to be following the absolute points leaders. As we said, without a real upset in the beginning of the game, it's these 3 guys that are most likely to take home the victory royale for the entire tournament. And look at this Vinny gift to begin it.
Oh man, finding a llama straight off the bat. Vinny in a great position in 2nd place right now, and that is going to help that mat game completely. Also, you never know what you're going to get out of it. You could get a rift to go, you could get a launch pad, you're set. You find that llama, that has put you in a really good position.
And Bizzle's also in a good position as well. We've seen him win the early game around Dusty so often that really now is only him and Demo landing in that area and nobody else. Everybody else is just saying, oh, we're just going to back away. And they end up getting so much loot from the early game because no one's fighting them there. Meanwhile, over at Paradise, oh, the actual double elimination and nobody comes out ahead.
That was a bit disastrous there from both players.
Maxcalibur, I think he thought he had it at first, and then the post-elimination elimination.
Yeah. What happened, I think, oh, well, the action's kicking off somewhere else, actually. Retail, Tixi versus Nikov here, down here. And some good damage there for Nikov, but he's on the low ground, and he wants to find an attempt to push onto the high ground. Or maybe he'll just play it safe, farm up some mats inside the building, but he doesn't want to try. Oh, he's going. Oh, it's been pressured from above. Tixi with a great shot. But
that trade was insane back for Tixi. Ends up taking the elimination for himself, but a new challenger approaches as Llama comes in from the side. Looks like 72 Hours just doing what he can. I think he's ranked about 20th right now in the tournament. He's over by Volcano. This has been one of his common drops for the day. His Llama, as we said, was building in towards, I think it's Tixi that had won that previous fight down on the low ground.
Yeah, but it looks like he could be food here for Nikov down there. Oh, Tixi, sorry, my bad.
It looks like Llama actually lost health on the trade. Long-range Klinger onto the tree. Got excited. I was like, ooh, maybe.
Yeah.
1 in a million throw.
It's the last game. Just make sure you get out, survive. Make sure that you can get as far as you can, and maybe you can find some loot somewhere else.
Envy here coming over the top, trying to find 72 Hours. Does find it with the first shot. That should turn this fight, but look at Envy's health. 72 Hours traded it back. Will rotate the ramp and look to try and get himself any sight that he can. He's trying to just peek over the top. Envy, there's an armor in the open, and Envy does go down to 72 Hours.
Very nicely played there from 72 Hours, just holding that high ground for as long as he needed, checking all the angles. I love how he turned his back, obviously using every angle to expose his opponent there. Very nicely done, and cleans it up very easily, and he's going to be happy jumping into the volcano.
Yeah, 72 Hours didn't really have too much competition around the volcano for the solos. I'm interested to see with the duos if he still ends up going there. Of course, duos is coming to you tomorrow and Sunday for our tournament. We are in the last round of solos here at the ESL Katowice Royale and Far. one of the Brazilian players, is making his way towards both Aspect and Dementos. Dementos trying to just heal himself up with some of those potions. Through the top goes fast shots, but I think Aspect is just going to back away and say, no, I need the placement points. I need anything I can get here, and just back away.
Yeah, maybe he'll re-engage, maybe, perhaps. We got into the cornfield here, and this is where Dementos has disappeared, playing it slow. Has to be careful. He's got no man stress. Big damage, though, shotgun. Far could have messed that up.
Far over the top, though, that's where he's trying to look for. Far down to 11 health. If he can get just that one shot, he's only got the tack, though, so it's going to take a little bit more there. The building coming down, and Dementos trying to just pickaxe his way all the way through this. He knows he's already got the lead. The third party is Aspect. Picks up the elimination for himself and just runs away. Aspect's like, I'm out here, guys. See ya.
I mean, Dementos is gone. I mean, Aspect, brilliant timing there. I thought he might re-engage. It seemed to make sense. You know, he's at the bottom of the pack. He needs eliminations, and that was just a good excuse when that fight happened.
Yeah, Issa, here we're on for another fight as Issa's trying to find himself a little bit of space against Razaru. Razaru, I believe, is somewhere in the 20s, and we said that, you know, you can jump pretty high up here as Razaru is... who we're watching with no explosives. 8 shotgun shells should be enough to take this fight, and it is. Edit through the top and easy pickings.
Nice clean pump shotgun to the face there, wraps it up nicely. We switch over to Zeke and History in Paradise Palms, and things are really kicking off here, Stress.
Yeah, Zeke is going to try and replace that wall and get the edit, but he's not quite able to get it in time. Klinger through the roof. Cling, cling, cling. And Zeke is trying to pick up the elimination. Not to be for now. How many clingers did he have? 6 from this exchange. Just trying to put the pressure down onto History.
Unfortunately, Zeke made a little bit of a fatal mistake there. He underestimated the strength of the roof. Natural roof tiling like that is about 500 HP, and of course the clingers couldn't go through it in time.
Razaru, is he caught? There's more clingers coming out from Ares, and Ares was one of the players we were watching, currently in 8th place. He needs 63 points to catch up, and Rover by Football, Ares will pick it up. That's 5 points on the board, building towards his long chase.
Yep, 223 points there for Ares now with that lovely elimination. If he can keep up that pressure and keep his cool, he might be able to squeeze in a win, perhaps. I mean, he's in the bottom end of the pack here. There is potential, but who knows?
So for those of you that maybe didn't catch the beginning of the day where we were going through the format, it is placements above 50th place are worth points, 5 points for every elimination. You can see the grayed out names on the sides of your screen are the players who have already been eliminated, and the big name really that we have to keep our eyes on throughout this game is Majin, but Bowman and Zeke are trading. Bowman's the one that gets those clingers. A lot of damage down onto Zeke to start, and Zeke only 36 now, up to a little bit more health, but still a precarious position to be in.
It's going to be interesting to see what History does here. Is he going to dip out? It looks like he's hanging around for a while here, but Bowman stuck in the other side of these houses too. Going for a rotation instead, going to dip out of the fight by the looks of it. I think every player's taken their exit strategy, make sure they play for the late game. It's a wise move. There's a lot of money on the line.
And here we go, Majin. Speaking of playing for the late game, 1 by 1, doing backflips.
I mean,
doesn't have a drift board, so I don't think it counts. But it's nice, you know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he does what he needs to do, and we're going to go back for that replay. The clinger.
The double elimination off the clinger. Post elimination.
And 72 hours picking up that lovely, lovely frag onto MV there as well.
I'm expecting the mid-game perhaps to be a little bit slower, as this was one of Aiden's pickoffs by the looks of it. Did manage to get one for himself. I'm expecting this to be a little bit slower of a mid-game because it's the last game, the last opportunity to pick up placement points. So I know earlier today you were talking to Majin. I saw it before the tournament, you and him having a chat in the player area. Any words that he gave you about his goals coming into today? Because he sat at the top of the points.
What was really, really interesting talking to Majin is that, you know, he came into this with no game plan. And obviously, you know, the new season mixed it all up. And his plans were to, you know, get a plane, rotate, find somewhere that was actually safe on the map, and then loot. So he would always go for a plane first, find the safest available spot, and then work from that point. But his whole game plan has to change. And he happened to pick probably the best spot for him, the ice cream parlor by the racetrack at Paradise Palms. Like, perfect placement, no one really contesting there, and he had 3 opportunities to run away with.
Yeah, of course, had to adapt his game plan thanks to Season 8 Stormwing vaulting in the patch changes. Rizard's going to fall. Doesn't end up dying, not too high for that full damage to kick in, but Tux is here. Maybe he can pick off. That's a stink grenade. These are so good in these close quarters position. Just even if it doesn't get the kill, it forces him to move, and you can maybe pick up that elimination from the side. Look for that angle as Rizard is backing himself away. Tux is trading with Smeef a little bit here as well.
Yeah, getting a bit greedy there, Tux. Steady on, lad. Just find your own opponent first. I mean, very unlucky not to find that elimination there with the stink bomb there.
Another name that pops up in the action feed, Scram. He won one of our earlier games today. He's currently sat in 4th place. He would need a 50-point difference in his favor against Margin to take 1st place, and that would then depend on Vinny and Bizzle. So this is really the thing. You can have the best game, but if your opponents are still consistent and they're above you in the points, you might not be able to jump above them.
Rizard's coming back in for some action, but finds Smeef instead. Tux has gone for the low ground here and played it a little bit safe down there.
Is getting tracked all the way up. There's a bad smell in that building, and it might be you, Smeef, at this point, because it's following you all the way up with those stink grenades. And Smeef's going to say, no, I'm out of this one.
It's really hard to avoid those farts, Stress, and they keep coming. They keep on coming, and it's just, oh, the smell lingers for ages.
Rizard in a lot of danger now as he gets clipped from the side. Has a few bandages, so we'll be able to heal that up, but now Smeef maybe is in a situation where he's the one that can put some damage out in response, but this is the slower mid-game. This is what we're expecting. 69 players remain in this game, and we are at Storm 2 out of 9 that is moving.
Yep. Smeef in a precarious situation here. He really wants to put this campfire down, and that's going to attract enemies to this location. They're going to know that he's low. Rizard has taken the sign. Maybe he's going to make a move with the pickaxe here, try and hack in his way. But he has to be careful of Smeef on the other side of this building as well.
Smeef knows he's coming in, and Smeef has shields. Like, that's the one thing that Rizard can't underestimate, is if this shot doesn't connect flush and just insta-eliminate, Rizard is going to feel the pain from Smeef, because Smeef, that campfire has basically expired now. So we're onto a replace fight. Gets the window, but a ramp in response. There's the spray down. Does get another shot from the pump. Tries the pyramid, and that's what we were talking about. Rizard takes the fight and ends up falling completely out at 69th place.
Smeef just having the advantage with the health stack there, could take a shot to the face there, but slightly Riz whiffing it a little bit, I feel. But great stuff from Smeef there, playing very well on the defense.
Another big name on your screen right now. Right at the top, Solary Kinstar is currently in 5th place. He would need a 57-point difference between himself and Margin to end up taking 1st place. He put up a big performance in game number 2 and has been consistent throughout. I mean, it's doable, right? It's doable for Kinstar. He's one of the people that we said could catch with the right game.
It's really interesting. This is the strongest performance in a while that we've seen from Kinstar in solos. His duo performance is outrageously amazing. Like, top 5 pretty much every event that he plays in the skirmishes.
And what a tournament so far for Vinny, just signing with TSM not much longer than a few days ago, and a player that people are talking about so frequently. It was like, when are we going to see Vinny? When are we going to see him play? And what a performance. Currently only 6 points behind Margin. That is 2 eliminations difference, or that placement point. It's so close.
In the previous game, when you had that face-off between Margin and Vinny, right? They didn't really meet each other, but you could see how they were conflicting against each other in that action feed. Ooh. Because Vinny was popping off so much with some eliminations.
My heart is in my throat right now for Margin, who is traversing open ground to get into the zone. And he had Cloud, I believe as well, he had Scram around him. And that's the kind of position that if somebody has a sniper, it's one shot for the elimination, could very easily pick him off. That's why he was checking around.
It was very interesting.
Oh, is he going to hit Shinken? No.
He's going to try, though, go for those pirate plays. Yeet it out. But anyways, what's interesting about Margin is that he was already in the circle, but he wanted to rotate center. And there's less attention in the center. People are more focused on fighting towards the edges, so he was able to rotate for free there.
I'm still watching Demo just try and utilize that cannon. Has built it in so that it doesn't blast off the floor behind him. He does have Animal closing in. Tajovsky's there as well, as is Sinnoh, but just being annoying, really, more than anything with that cannon, breaking through the boundary, the walls as much as he can.
Alpha was just tagging away there at via Linen there, just trying to find some damage, but not really getting anything out of it apart from just wasting his AR ammo.
Aim Hero, you can see on the bottom side of your screen as well. Another one of our Victory Royale winners earlier today. Aim Hero is going to join in on the fun and try and put as much towards Shinken as he can. As Scram, as we said, had won, I think it was round 5 earlier, so in contention, but it would take a good performance. I feel like Seth had a good start to the day, for sure, and that's the thing, is the consistency really is the key, and it is so difficult across 7 rounds to be consistent. It takes a lot of mental fortitude and physical fortitude between it just to be able to keep placing in the late game every single time.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was quite amazing in the previous game that Majin was able to do so much when he was getting pressured so much by Envy. He did a crazy smart play, actually using Dynamite to kill his launchpad to escape the incredibly bad situation that he got himself into.
New zone will show. Majin is, I believe, just inside, or is he just outside? No, he's outside. He has to run. And you have to think, for Majin, in this situation, he doesn't have the same view that we have. He can't see the eliminations of people like Vinny, of Bizzle. So he's having to manually track it down in that action feed and say, okay, have I seen them score? What do I need to do? Because even if I win and they're second place, I have to beat them on points.
I honestly don't think he's even worried about it at this stage. I think he's just going, you know, I'm going to get the late game, I'm going to play it cool, and I'll pop off at the end, and I'll worry about it then. And to be honest, you just got to play your own game. You can't expect, ooh, big damage there coming from Tux there, doing a little bit of a miss.
Vilex wasn't expecting that damage from above to come through. As much as that was a big trade, loses 60 health on that.
It's going to be fine though. He's going to shield up as best as he can.
Keolis finds another elimination for his 3rd of the game. Of course, we're talking so much about who is going to be the eventual winner. As we said, the whole pack can change, and there is significant placement and earnings available, even for those that aren't in the top spot.
There's a lot of aggression here coming in on this build-off here, just on this mountain. Players finding each other, wanting to go in for the eliminations. Big damage received from Kilios there, and now he has to find a defensive strategy for himself. But Bizzle is still in the game, and he's still rocking it.
Yeah, History is beside him, and History certainly trying to get away from those stink bombs. Just tagged so much through with those stink bombs. Now look, dual pistols from the side. Somebody is trying to pick up anything that they can.
What's interesting about Ghost Bizzle right now, he hasn't had to rotate at all. He landed there, and he's still there to this day. It's just his favorite spot. He doesn't need to do anything. And look at his items because of it. He hasn't had to rotate. He hasn't had to use any of his healings. He's got the Rift to go to spare.
Looking to try and pick off Tajovsky. He's just using that compact SMG as much as possible now, raining through with the blue AR, but he hasn't quite found the pick. Bizzle gets dropped on, and Bizzle is going to get picked off. Bizzle ends up falling to History. He turned his back, and that surely is such a drastic end for Bizzle this early on.
No way, Stress. History makes history. Oh my Jesus. Oh, that's insane. And also the Rift to go. There's so much loot there that Bizzle has saved up since the start of the game.
Bizzle turned his back, and there it is, 50 players eliminated. Bizzle was out of the placement points. So you have to feel like Bizzle, there's no way he can catch Majin. There's no way he can catch Vinny right now. So Bizzle is a maximum 3rd place finish. But this game continues, and it's with Vinny that we are watching. 1 elimination to his name. That leaves him 1 point behind Majin before placement points are actually included.
This is going to go down to the wire. All depends on placement at the moment, but that could change. You never know, Majin could pick up an elimination here or there. So could Vinny. And Vinny on a little bit of a wide rotation, I feel.
Majin's on 0 eliminations for now. Zexro is here in this area, and let's not sleep on any of the competitors in this. It's not like Majin and Vinny are so clear that they aren't going to get picked off. We just saw it happen to Bizzle. Everybody is a lethal threat regardless of where they are on those standings, and at this point you can see few of the other players that are alive. Jordan from the X2 Twins is alive. They've been doing decently well throughout this solos, but we're really waiting for the duos to see how the Twins perform. That's what we've seen them crush at, and as this storm starts to shrink, there are so many players, perhaps the largest field we've had today on this movement.
I am scared, Stress. I am very, very scared. Kinstar is still alive out there, and it worries me for Margin's future. It really does.
Well, we'll wait till it gets lower because Hupek is going to try and pick one off in the air. Does get the spray down, and he got Norwood out of the air. Mitro picks up 72 hours. That unfortunately calls an end to 72 hours Solo's performance as Mitro continues. Jakos, our Polish winner, is still in there. Aiden is still in the left of your screen. You can see Boyer in the middle of everything. There are so many contenders that could easily take the victory royale.
Very much so. We see Margin in the dead center of all this mess. Sino's getting actually a bit stunk on there in the corner, but he's going to recover just fine. I don't think he's going to get any more pressure. And Margin's everybody is already on this corner. This is going to be a hectic push towards that next circle, Stress. Everybody is already facing that direction. And
Margin's just peeking. He doesn't know that it's Vivid in front of him, but like that's a matchup that everybody would want to see. Margin against Vivid at this point, but it's impossible for people to really call a lot of these engagements. Now, Bowman trying to just pick anybody out of the sky that he can. As Storm Surge warning does kick in, but Bowman is very much safe with the amount of damage he has done. He's trying to spin up that minigun, just preemptively doing it to get anything he can, but now he's got to move.
Yep, and he's going to try and maintain as much high ground as possible. I think he has some backup options there, and he's going to try and dish out as much damage as he can at the very back, getting a little bit of pressure there. Will he have to use any of his movement options spare? I think he's just going to keep running it and build as much as he can. Good pressure with the minigun, though, forcing his opponents down there.
Great pressure. Here's Margin. This is the dangerous move that he has to traverse perfectly in order to keep his lead. Doesn't swap to the shotgun in enough time to pick up an elimination, but he finds safety for now. So did a lot of people, but we are down to 28. A lot of our contenders are still up in this game, and nobody has found that key elimination to turn this game into their points' favor.
Butt cheeks are clenching here, Stress. Very much so. As a Brit, I have tea in celebration after this if he manages to pull it off.
It definitely is not Margin's game. It is not a safe game for him at all, as he has to keep eliminations on top of it as well. Points leader, but only by 6, means it could be easy for Vinny to jump up. The player from the USA could very well end up taking this if he can get a few eliminations. Margin traversing upwards. Where is Vinny? I'm trying to track him down. We see he's using the balloon, single balloon strategy to try and get as much height in the late game. 40 builds is where he's at.
Margin making it.
Edit does get a lot of damage down, gets the elimination, actually picks up Jordan, one of the X2 Twins, runs into another one. Margin has to stay alive if he wants the hope to actually stay in this at first, but he's taking storm damage as well. He's eliminated. Zexro gets him, and it's now all on Vinny. If Vinny can put up enough points, surely this has to be it. Vinny just needs to stay in for a victory royale, and then depending on the rest of the field, it all depends on how much the other players around him are scoring. I don't think we can call a clear winner at the end of this game.
Jakos having that high ground, as we saw earlier on. He has been mastering it every game. I don't know how he gets up there so consistently all the time. And now taking pot shots at everybody that's flying.
That's Vinny! Vinny drops in on Jakos, and Vinny needs to pick this one up. Vinny needs everything that he can to be able to stay through, but surely he has done enough to at least unseat Margin. It's all about the rest of the field. Vinny ends up dying. Vinny is gone out of this one. So that's Bizzle, Vinny, and Margin gone. Somebody could steal this from behind. Who have we got? Animal is here. Boyer is here. Madsen goes down. That was a double elimination pickup with 6 players left.
Oh, it's absolutely crazy. Who's up the very top? That's Zayt up the top with the high ground. He's playing it extra slow, playing it very safe. But that rocket launcher will change that situation with Shino doing some big damage onto Zayt.
4 players left, and this is all about climbing the rest of the standings. The battle for first has pretty much all been decided, and with 3 players left, it is all about final placements. Shinken drops down. Sino ends up picking up 1, and Animal is going to win the game. The final victory royale of the Solos competition is picked up by Animal. We really don't know who's won.
I know, it's so tense right now. I'm so hoping. I'm so hoping.
I don't have a horse in this race.
Fingers are very much crossed at the moment, gentlemen, for you. I mean, what a finish. The fact that we've come right down to the end there. Massive congratulations to Animal, we must say, for the victory royale at the end. But we do not know our winner off the top of our heads. We have no idea still. Someone do some quick maths.
Bizzle got eliminated early. That's what we know. I really don't think it can be Bizzle.
He was out of the placements.
He was out of placement points. So it's did Vinny outperform Margin enough on placements, and did everybody, Scram, Keenstar, Item, Blacks, Aries, did they all fail to pick up enough points to unseat Vinny, or will Vinny have done it? Oh,
it's going to be a lot of people in the back at the moment, a lot of League Ops guys tapping away on calculators, double checking, triple checking, making sure that it's right. So we get you guys the correct winner, of course. But I mean, what a finish it was, gents. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better day of solos here in our international tournament. Everyone has turned up. They've given us heartache. They've given us incredible plays. I mean, it came down to a game number 7 with so many players still in contention, as we obviously have the replays coming in from that last game. But I love the fact that after all is said and done, a little bit like Test cricket, they played 7 games here. We still don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's won.
Yeah, we don't know who's won. We saw a few big pickups from Aries. As you said, Bizzle ended up dropping out. I think we'll probably end up seeing that as part of a replay package. But, I mean, the competition is pretty close between a lot of the countries that have come here, right? I mean, we've got American players fighting for the top. We've got European players. And just in general, I think it's been really exciting to see different play styles, especially in solos as well.
Oh, definitely. And it was quite an upset earlier on as well, with Bizzle just dropping out of the top 50. Like,
yeah.
He had
it came out of nowhere as well, that elimination. He was so focused on that player in front of him, and then bang.
And that's what, like, the importance, especially in solos, is pretty much all 100 players are top players in their region, right? So you can't sleep on somebody. You can't just say, I'm in the top, I'll just turn my back and start looking for this elimination, and that's what picked up Bizzle.
It's the clash of styles there that really, came in there. I'm sure if that was an all-American, group of 100 players, could have been a whole different kettle of fish. It went absolutely crazy. No one was expecting history to make history there and knock down Bizzle and his chance for the championship.
Okay, gentlemen.
Have you got it?
I've got it. I've just heard it in my ears. The most exciting thing is it was 3 points that separated the winner of today's solo action. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner of the solos is Vinny!
Oh,
incredible stuff.
What a basically week. What a week for Vinny, really. Yeah. And what a time to do it. Like, this has just been a monumental week for a young player to pick up the solos.
What a fantastic performance from that young man. You can see him. He's about to lift that trophy up. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Vinny!
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your ESL Katowice Royale Solos champion. It's Vinny! Vinny, come around this way, buddy. Come around this way. Congratulations. You must feel on top of the world right now.
I feel amazing.
How does it feel to clutch that amazing, beautiful trophy as well?
Feels great. It's my first one, so I'm really excited.
Well, congratulations. Let's talk about the tournament in general. First things first, 3 points in it. 319 points you finished on. I think Magan came in at 316. How did it feel as a player being in that kind of environment where it's so close?
It was definitely nerve-wracking, but at the end, I had a lot of movement, and I knew I'd take down first place.
When you came into the tournament today as well, did you have a strategy this morning coming into this, thinking that's how I've got to play this thing?
My strategy wasn't the best. I used to drop Snobby, but that was kind of taken, so I had to make a new strat, and it worked out today, so it's awesome.
It's amazing. I mean, obviously, have you guys enjoyed yourselves today as well? What a worthy winner you've been. I mean, let's talk about as well. You haven't, despite not getting a victory royale today, you've played the game so well. The consistency of it all. It couldn't have gone better than it did to plan, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, a whole weekend to go, full of duos. Confidence must be at an all-time high now. Are you looking forward to going into duos as well?
Yep, me and Zax are going to bring first place as well, so I'm excited.
You're going to bring the noise. Guys, one more time, would you please give it up for your ESL Katowice Royale Solos champion? It's Vinny! What a deserved champion. Absolutely incredible. Congratulations there, buddy. Representing the US of A. What a day it's been. I've loved every second of this being the stage host of this. But tomorrow we kick off duos 2 days back to back. Vinny's excited. All the players, I'm sure, are as well. Thank you so much for watching today from the main stage here. I've loved every second. Cannot wait for tomorrow. For now, let's head back to Mark and the fellas. What an incredible day this has been.